In recent years, music has become the most important art form in Iceland, and apart from the classical musicians and singers, we have very many well-known pop musicians like Björk, who the whole world has fallen in love with.
My calling was folk music. I've been a folk artist, and that is what I'm still doing. I started by being an apprentice of the late Dr. Albert Sempeke.
I saw certain fall like lightning. I saw darkness run for cover, yeah. But the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered in heaven. I believe in signs and wonders, yeah. I have resurrection power. Still the miracle that I just can't get over, my name is registered in heaven. All my praise belongs to you forever. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify by Jesus Christ the righteous. I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Oh, 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 oh. Come together, sons and daughters, fought with blood and washed in water. Hey, sing the graces of the Spirit, Son and Father. My God will finish what He started. Oh, our God will finish what He started. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify by Jesus Christ the righteous. I'm justified. This is my testimony. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things still to come. Sing with me, say, if I'm not dead, you're not done. Greater things still to come. Oh, I believe. If I'm not dead, you're not done. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Greater things still to come. Oh, so my best days are still ahead of me. Yeah. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify. By Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. Oh, 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 oh. This is my testimony from death to life. 'Cause grace rewrote my story. I'll testify. By Jesus Christ the righteous, I'm justified. This is my testimony. This is my testimony. Oh, 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 Hi guys, welcome to Sunday Rise. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Invite someone, send a link out, send a link to your friend. Today we are going to share an interesting moment. This show is going to be a little bit personal. So share a link with someone who needs guidance, who needs encouragement, who needs to feel like they can fellowship with the Holy Spirit again. All right. So today I'm going to tell a story through song and through word about how sometimes we feel like we've gone so far from where Jesus is because of mistakes that we make, or because of the place that we find ourselves in. We feel like we are less than worthy. But a story is told in the Bible about a woman who came into a gathering where Jesus was having dinner with his disciples and a couple of friends. And this woman in society was looked at as filthy and an outcast. But she came in and all she wanted was to be in the presence of Jesus. So let me tell you this story. The room grew still as she made her way to Jesus. She stumbled through the scene that made her blind. She felt such pain. Some spoke in anger, heard folks whisper, "There's no place here for her kind." But still on she came, through the shame that flashed her face, until at last she knelt before his feet. And though she spoke no words, everything she said was heard, as she poured her love on the Master from a box of alabaster. I've come to pour my praise on him like oil from Mary's alabaster box. Don't be angry if I wash his feet with my tears and I dry them with my hair. You weren't there the night he found me. You did not feel what I felt when he wrapped his loving arms around me. And you don't know the cost of the oil in my alabaster box. I can forget the way life used to be. I was a prisoner to the sin that had me bound. So I spent my days, poured my life without measure into this little treasure box I thought I'd found. But until the day when Jesus came to me and healed my soul with the wonder of His love, so I'm giving back to Him all the praise He's worthy of. I've been forgiven, and that's why I love Him so much. I've come to pour my praise on Him like oil from Mary's alabaster box. Don't be angry if I wash His feet with my tears and I dry them with my hair. You weren't there the night He found me. You did not feel what I felt when He wrapped His loving arms around me. And you don't know the cost. I gave up everything. You don't know the cost. Oh, you don't know the cost of the oil in my alabaster box. So friends, that day, our restoration and our re-establishment. So friends, I want to remind you that Jesus is a King. Listen, there is a King seated among us. Let every heart receive Him now. Where there is praise, He will inhabit. There will be grace and mercy all around. Every burden will be lifted in His presence. Every trophy will be laid on at His feet. There is a name that reigns above all others, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. Oh, unto the Lamb honor and glory, worthy is He who overcame, buried in shame, risen in power. He is alive and the stone is rolled away. All our worship will belong to Him forever. Death is conquered, our Savior holds the key. There is a name that reigns above all others, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. Oh, and it won't be long. We will behold him, and every tear he'll wipe away. We'll be at home, the war will be over. Our Savior face to face. Oh, everybody will be lifted in his presence, and every trophy will be laid on at his feet. There is a name that reigns above all others, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. And all my worship will belong to him forever. Glory, 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 glory for all eternity. Yours is the name that reigns above all others, Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. Jesus Christ, the King above all kings. Hallelujah. In the darkness we were waiting, without hope, without light, till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes, to fulfill the law and prophet. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory, to a cradle in the dirt. Oh, praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. To reveal the kingdom coming, and to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering you saw to the other side, knowing this was our salvation. Jesus, for our sake you died. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. And the moment that you rose, all of heaven held its breath, till the storm was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death. And the rose stood in their tomb, and the angels stood in awe, for the souls of all who would come to the Father I restore. And the Church of Christ was born. Then the Spirit lit the flame. Now this gospel truth of old, it shall not kneel, it shall not fade. By His blood and in His name, in His freedom I am free. For the love of Jesus Christ, who has resurrected me. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three in one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. Oh, praise forever to the King of Kings. So friends, Jesus is our friend, but He's also the King of Kings. And where there is praise, He will inhabit. There's a story is told of a guy who came to Jesus and said, I've suffered for many years, but if you're willing, heal me. He recognized that beyond this guy being this nice guy, this approachable guy, he was the healer and He was the Messiah. So sometimes we have to remember that Jesus, who we talk to freely, is our healer, He's our restorer, He's our Redeemer, and He's the King of Kings. Alright, so we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we're going to go deeper into worship. So stay tuned.
Alright guys, welcome back. I hope you did something with your break. Okay, so before we went to the break, we were talking about how we recognize that we have a king seated among us, Jesus. We have a healer seated among us, Jesus. And he has given us his Holy Spirit. You know, in my journey as a worshiper, you learn quickly that sometimes the things that you say and the things that you sing and the exhortation that you put out as you lead worship, sometimes the best of them have to be from your experiences. Many times, we talented people who are, in many cases, by temperament, melancholic, find ourselves in a place where we have to think and analyze, you know, and try to figure things out. But then at the end of the day, we have a very deep connection to Jesus. We have a very deep connection to our Savior, to our Restorer. And you know, friends, there have been many situations where you lead worship, you lead a service. Sometimes you even pray for people when they get healed. But then you go back home to a loved one who is ill. You go back home to confusion. You go back home to business that just seems to be failing. Maybe in those moments you need to stop and recognize that you need to turn your eyes to the King. Turn your eyes to Jesus and lay it all at his throne, lay it all at his feet, and talk to him. From the beginning of the show, I've been saying Jesus is a nice guy. He has already gone halfway. He's just waiting for you to turn around and say, Jesus, how do I handle this? How do I go about this? And you see, that's the place of worship. He says, in all things, lean not on your own understanding, but acknowledge him. He has given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. He lives in us. The Bible says that he is the one who lives in us. He works in us. He does in us, both to will and to do according to his good pleasures. So sometimes all you have to do is turn your eyes to him. In your prayer moments and in your worship moments, speak to him and tell him, and be real with him, you know. Say, Jesus, today I woke up and I don't feel like I'm motivated. What should I do? See, the Bible says, I'll give you the desires of your heart. Now, that scripture could mean I'll give you what you desire, but it could also mean I'll give you what to desire. And it's one of the ways that Jesus talks to us. So he might introduce a desire in your heart to see someone or to talk to someone. And that might just be the answer you need. So turn your eyes. Turn your eyes. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of the earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Oh, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of the earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. So the reason I keep saying turn your eyes, sometimes even when we are believing in Jesus completely, a little thing can come and create doubt and fear in your life. A story is told about a disciple who saw Jesus walk on water. And he asked him, Master, call me so I can come. And so Jesus called him to come. And he stepped out in faith. This is where we all start. We have a sure foundation. But something happened, and he lost his focus and started to sink. But this is one of those moments where again you see that Jesus does not give up on us. You know, because Jesus reached out to him and pulled him from the sinking. So Jesus doesn't give up on us. Sometimes we just lose our focus, but Jesus does not give up on us. Sometimes we just lose our faith, but Jesus does not give up on us. And most of the times, all we need to do is refocus. When everything seems to be dying, all we need to do is refocus. Because you see, when the devil comes to you and is coming to tempt you or to deceive you, he doesn't come to you in the second person. He comes to you in the first person. What do I mean by that? So if, for example, you're at work and you know you're not supposed to take a bribe, when the devil is deceiving you, he will not say things like, take a bribe, nothing will happen, no one will get hurt. He speaks to you and says, I will take a bribe, because nothing will happen and no one will get hurt. And sometimes you think it's your intuition and your brain and your spirit telling you, but it's not. In those moments, you have to remember the principles of Christianity. You will not steal, you will not kill, you will not destroy. Focus on Jesus. He hasn't stopped providing. He hasn't stopped healing. He hasn't stopped restoring. All you have to do is look at him. Look to him. I invite you to sing this song with me. Look and live, my brother, live. Look to Jesus now and live. 'Tis recorded in his word. Hallelujah. If only you could look and live. Oh, look and live, my brother, live. Look to Jesus now and live. 'Tis recorded in his word. Hallelujah. If only you could look and live. I have a message from the Lord. Hallelujah. I have a message from my God. Amen. It's a message from the Lord. Hallelujah. It's a message from my God. Amen. Oh, look and live, my brother, live. Look to Jesus now and live. 'Tis recorded in his word. Hallelujah. It's only then you look and live. It's all you have to do. Turn your eyes. It's all you have to do. Jesus is always waiting. He's always waiting. He's always listening. Even, you know, there are times when we feel like, but is God there? Is he listening? Yes, he is. All you have to do is focus, and sometimes just wait a bit and he will come through. So look and live. It is Jesus. It is Jesus. It is Jesus in my soul. I have touched the hem of his garment, and his love has made me whole. It is Jesus. It is Jesus. It is Jesus in my soul. Friends, in this moment, let's just pray together. Jesus, we thank you because you love us. We thank you because you died and rose again for us. We thank you because you took the sin of the world so that we can live. Jesus, we thank you because even in moments when we doubt, you don't doubt. You are so sure about what you said. You are so sure about what you've declared over us. So we thank you because even when we doubt, your Holy Spirit continues to nudge us. In this moment, God, I want to lift my friend, my brother, my sister who is watching me. And they're filled with doubts, they're filled with confusion. They don't know where to turn. Lord, it's in these moments that I pray that you make yourself so real, so evident to them. Do things in their lives, oh God, that are undoubtedly from you. Do things in their lives that cause them to realize that God still cares. Because, Lord, we are surrendered. We give ourselves to you completely. Weguba mukwano ogumpade sazewo ningali n'ekikyamo ku mutwe Yesu mpagalira ddala ebyensi byonna mbirabye tebikusinga Yesu abantu bakwagala leero enkya ne bakukyawa naye ate gwe omukwano gwo tegugwa kuloja Yesu ndiwo Yesu ndiwo zenaka abanonya kabambulwe ganekwese mukwe munda Yesu ndiwo Yesu ndiwo zena zena abanonya kabambulwe ganekwese mukwe munda Endowooza zange zonna ziri kugwe nannyini bulamu ebyensi byonna byantama buli kaseera njayanira gwe oli kalosa ka bulamu bwange Yesu okubeerawo kwo gwe kusingira buli kimu kankugambe Yesu ndiwo Yesu ndiwo zena abanonya kabambulwe nga nekwese mukwe munda Yesu ndiwo Yesu ndiwo zena abanonya kabambulwe nga nekwese mukwe munda endowooza zange zonna ziri kugwe nannyini bulamu ebyensi byonna byantama buli kaseera njayanira gwe oli kalosa ka bulamu bwange Yesu okubeerawo kwo kwe kusingira buli kimu kankugambe Yesu ndiwo Yesu ndiwo zena abanonya kabambulwe nga nekwese mukwe munda Yesu ndiwo Yesu ndiuze nazena ebinonya kabimbulwe nganegwese mugwe munda ebinonya kabimbulwe nganegwese mugwe munda abanonya kabambulwe nganegwese mugwe munda. Hallelujah. Nino mukwano kwange Yesu oyo musumba mulungi oyatakowa kumbera kumpi awuliriza byonna ebyange effeeza zange obulamu bwange byonna ebyange mu Yesu nditya kabiki Yesu we yagamba talindeka ku lwange omulungi oyo annangamya era yandisa akomyawo emmeeme yange neetaaga ki Yesu awoli kyekiri nzija ku Yesu omulungi annangamya era yandisa akomyawo emmeeme yange neetaaga ki Yesu nga oli kyekiri nzija ku Yesu nino mukwano gwange Yesu oyo musumba omulungi oyatakowa kumbeera kumpi awuliriza byonna ebyange effeeza zange obulamu bwange byonna ebyange mu Yesu nditya kabiki Yesu we yagamba talindeka ku lwange omulungi oyo annungamya era yandisa akomyawo emmeeme yange neetaaga ki Yesu nga oli kyekiri nzija ku Yesu omulungi annungamya era yandisa akomyawo emmeeme yange neetaaga ki Yesu nga oli kyekiri nzija ku Yesu kyekiri nzija ku Yesu kyekiri nzija ku Yesu. Jesus has all the answers to all our questions, all the answers. So friends, sometimes all we have to do is invite the Holy Spirit to help us see the things that He's trying to show us, to help us see how He wants us to go about certain things in certain situations. Moyo mutukufu jangu jangu mukifo kino yingira ofuge wano era obonye ona ayo moyo invite him
no. Yingit ofuge wano ero onye wona ayongoyo ayesu kabako etisa So friends, I hope in this worship you've allowed your heart to realign with Jesus. You know, as worshipers sometimes, like in my case, we do business as well. And sometimes you stake everything on some things. You may even pray about it, or fast, believe, agree. But then, there's times when things just don't go well. You may not fail, but you could be disappointed, you know? You could be let down. But even the people who you hoped would be the last that you expect to let you down. And in these moments, we despair, we lose hope, we lose faith, we forget who Jesus is in our lives. But friends, the Bible says, everything that you go through, everything that you do, there's a Bible verse somewhere that talks about your situation. So the Bible says, I am the God who teaches you to make wealth. And you know, in James again it says, I'll hold you by your right hand and I will help you. When you hear that, you hear the voice of Jesus. This nice guy,
He's available. He's saying, I will hold you by your right hand and I will help you. I've not given up on you. Jesus, are you willing to help me? I'm willing. Now, there are times when God is trying to build a testimony, you know, so that your sickness or your struggle it's not just one of those things that you go through. So I'll give you an example. When Lazarus died, the Bible says Lazarus was Jesus' very good friend. When news came to Jesus that Lazarus had died, he said, when news came to Jesus that Lazarus was sick, he said, this sickness will not end in death, but that the Son of Man will be glorified through it. And the Bible is clear. It says he tarried there for 2 more days. Now, when Jesus 2 days later went to Lazarus' home, Mary and Martha came running. And one of them said to him, Jesus, if you had been here, Lazarus would not have died. My brother would not have died. Now, many of us feel that way sometimes. We feel like, Jesus, if you really listened, maybe my business would not have failed. My family would not have split. My child would not have been lost to drugs. My father, my mother would not have died. But friends, the record is that Jesus wept. Now, there are many interpretations of that scripture, but it's a little short verse that says Jesus wept, and that's it. I believe, you know, in that moment he was thinking, guys, why do you forget? I have spoken. I have said this sickness shall not end in death, but that the Son of Man will be glorified through it. Listen, the word of the Lord does not go back to him void. It accomplishes everything that it has been sent to do. So the Bible says by 2 a thing is established. So in a way, Jesus knew that when he gets there and Lazarus is dead, very many people would have lost their faith. So he sent his word that maybe, just maybe, when he gets there, he will agree with himself. So Jesus wept. Jesus wept. In our lives, many times we go to Jesus with things and he weeps. Because all he's thinking, where is your faith? The faith that is as small as a mustard seed. The faith that can tell a mountain, be moved into yonder places, and it will go. Jesus wept because, you know, the whole time he had been teaching them and telling them, you're with me. Maybe when I leave, I'll send you a helper, but now you're with me. There are many times when he told Peter, you don't have to worry about that because the Son of Man is still here. You're still with me. So friends, how many times have you lost your faith because something looks like it's dead and it's unredeemable? You know, your marriage seems unredeemable. Your business seems unredeemable. A friendship seems unredeemable. You have a friend who is battling cancer, is battling severe heart disease or HIV and AIDS, or in today's, in the age today, they are battling with coronavirus, and you feel like your faith, you're filled with doubt. In those moments, Jesus weeps, and he didn't weep because you're a fake guy. No, he weeps because you've forgotten. For a second, you've allowed to be deceived that you're not enough, that healing is in his hands. So friends, today, I want you to speak into whatever situation, whether it's your marriage or your business, or you have someone who's sick in the hospital. I want you to speak into those places and remind them that Jesus is King. Jesus is still our restorer. He's still our redeemer. He's still the King of Kings. So just take a moment, and I'm going to pray over you as you declare these things. Father, remind us that you're King, that you're seated on the throne. Remind us that you're the healer. Remind us that you're the restorer. Speak Breathe into the areas of our lives where we need restoration, redemption. Breathe into the areas of our lives where we feel we need to be re-established. Sometimes some things are hard to understand, but Lord, in the confusion, breathe clarity, God. And now if this Jesus I'm speaking to is someone that is not familiar to you, I want to invite you to give your life to Him. Maybe, just maybe, He might be what you need for the things that you feel are dead. You see, when Lazarus went to the tomb, when Jesus went to the tomb of Lazarus, the Bible says that Lazarus was buried in a cave. Now, he could have been buried in a tomb or in a grave, but it was a cave. And Jesus spoke. He didn't enter in, He spoke from outside. He declared and said, Lazarus, rise. The depiction of a cave in the Bible signifies to us, the one thing we know by physics is that when you speak into a cave, there are echoes. So sometimes all you need is for Jesus to say one word, and that word will echo in every area of your life. So today, allow Amen. Say this word, say, Jesus, I invite you into my life. To be that King that I need, to be that Lord that I need, to be the Savior that I need, to be the Restorer that I need. Today I believe that you died for my sins and that you are Lord of my life. Friends, if you made that prayer, all you have to do is look to Him. Speak to Him. He's your friend. Jesus is a nice guy. He's on your side. All right, so we're going to take another short break and we'll be back to close the program. Let's take a break. Friends, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the show. And now we're just going to do one more song to close. And I pray that you've been blessed. Just say yes, you lead the way. I'm not afraid of what it means for me to say. This life you gave is not my own. I'm trusting you to hear my yes and lead me on. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. My life is yours. I'll just say yes. You lead the way. I'm not afraid of what this life you gave is not my own. I'm trusting you to hear my yes and lead me on. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. My life is yours. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. My life is yours. And there is peace when I say yes. I might not see it now, but you save the best for those who trust you and obey. There is an answer, no more delay. I'll just say yes, 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 Lord. Yes, Lord, my life is yours. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, my life is yours. And there is peace when I say yes. I might not see it now, but you save the best for those who trust you and obey. There is an answer, no more delay. Oh, peace when I say yes. I might not see it now, but you save the best for those who trust you and obey. There is an answer, no more delay. I'll just say yes, yes, Lord. So I hope you enjoyed the program, guys, and I hope you feel realigned, you feel re-energized, and I pray that God will bless you. Enjoy your week. Thank you for tuning in to Sunday Rise here on House of Talent. This show happens every Sunday, so be sure to come back every Sunday. After this, we're going for a family show, so stay tuned. God bless you. Bye-bye. He said, say something as you close, while I had already closed.
years, music has become the most important art form in Iceland. And apart from the classical musicians and singers, we have very many well-known pop musicians like Björk, who the whole world has fallen in love with.
My calling was folk music. I've been a folk artist, and that is what I'm still doing. I started by being an apprentice of the late Dr. Albert Sempeke.
Welcome to This Week. Our speaker is Reem Kasim from Alexandria, Egypt.
Hi, my name is Reem Kasim, and I'm a cultural manager and producer and cultural researcher currently based in Abu Dhabi. I'm also the founder of Agora for Arts and Culture. And Agora is a cultural institution based in Alexandria, Egypt, that works on community involvement through education, production, dissemination of arts and culture. I'm also one of 3 co-founders for the virtual platform Basita.live. And Basita is a virtual theater or a virtual venue, and as well an income-generating platform for the creative and cultural sectors worldwide that has been created during the past year of the pandemic. During the recent years, most of the people in the creative industries were discussing alternative funding models, and were also discussing how they can be self-sustained financially through their activities. Most of the institutions are heavily depending on international funding or even local funding, and funding mainly for projects. However, there are very, very few cultural organizations that are self-sustained financially through their activities or through their earned income. And for this reason, when all our work moved to the online platforms, it became even more challenging for artists, creative freelancers, and cultural institutions to generate income through the virtual platforms. And of course, the virtual platforms, they come with their own challenges like copyright, security, online security, etc. So during this period, we thought, the co-founders of Basita.live, that creating a platform that is safe and secured, that also helps the artists and the institutions worldwide to share their online content in a secured way, while also being able to charge their audiences a fee/a ticket, would be very helpful during this critical time. And that's why immediately in April last year, April 2020, we started interviewing artists and having conversations with different institutions worldwide to understand their needs if such a virtual platform would become a reality. And from that, we started developing Basita.live and launched it in May 2020 as a test version. And from May till August, we started adjusting the platform as we saw suitable after consultations with artists. So we heard from filmmakers, we heard from performers, theater makers, dancers, what are the features and the elements, the technical elements that would help them take their art and present it worldwide, while also being able to have a sustainable, automated income from what they present. Then in August, we officially launched the platform with the first event. It was on 4th of August. And since then, we've hosted almost 25 events so far, ranging from musical events, film screenings, dance performances, theater performances, and talks as well. And we have noted that audiences, they are still not used to paying for creative and cultural content, while they all are fine with paying for mainstream content on platforms such as Netflix or, for example, Spotify or Apple Music or other different platforms that present mainstream content. And still, the culture is new for audiences to start accepting the fact that also artists and cultural institutions, they deserve the same support that the main content, the mainstream content receives. Therefore, during this period, we are heavily working on audience awareness and awareness in general, that artists should be equally supported, that the independent artists and independent scene and creatives who present cultural content in general, no matter what the discipline is, they also deserve the same support that other creatives from the mainstream sector receive. And to do that, we have launched several campaigns and we have launched several info sessions, and we are still planning to do more. So the way Basita.life functions, it's very easy. Basita actually means simple. It's an Arabic word, but also resonates to different languages. And its translation is simple. So the artist or the institution, they go on Basita.live, the platform, and they create an account, a personal account. There are 3 types of accounts. An account as an artist, so a musician, a filmmaker, or even a visual artist, an individual artist can create an account. And there is also the venue or an institution account. So if it's a cultural center, if it's a band or a festival or any type of institution or a venue can create another account. We also have a 3rd type of account for audiences. So also audiences create accounts. And creating an account is very simple and straightforward. They just fill in some information, a quick synopsis, bio, a photo, a profile photo, and social media links, and that's it. Once the artist or the institution, they create their account on Basita.live, then they gain access. They have a username and password from which they can log into the platform and start creating their events. And creating an event on Basita.live is also very simple. They start also filling in the information of the event name, the event type. And on Basita, we have 2 types of events. We have the live events that are happening in real time, and we have the premieres. And the premieres are all the pre-recorded content. And then they fill in the discipline. Is it a concert? Is it a film screening? The genre goes to us for review. We review the event details, and then we approve it and confirm. Once the event is approved, then it appears publicly on our homepage, and the artist can start promoting the link. People can start buying tickets, and it works really in an automated way. Also, there are several different features that the platform offers. So for example, for films, there is the option of uploading subtitles. Also, for all the events, there is the option of geo-blocking. We understand that some people, sometimes they want to make their content available in some regions or some countries, and some countries not. For simple reasons, like for example, they don't own the distribution rights in certain regions, and they only own it for certain countries. So this feature is also there. There is a feature to make the event with invitation only for a limited number of people. You can make your event available for unlimited ticket purchase, or you can make it only available for a certain number of people if you want to keep it for a small number of audiences. And of course, the content is very secured. We use 2 types of security. First of all, encryption technology, so the content is encrypted. And second, on our web version, we use watermarking technology. So of course, anyone who accesses the content, who buys a ticket, has to have an audience account on Basita.live. And therefore, when the audience are watching the content, their IP address and email address appear on the screen as a watermark every 5 minutes randomly. So anyone who wants to screen record or try to infringe the content in any way, the content owner will be able to know who this person is. And also the platform offers detailed statistics to the creative users, the artists and the institutions. So whenever an artist creates an event, in their panel, their events panel, they can see statistics such as who are the people who bought the tickets, their demographics, their information, from which country, which nationality. And while creating the platform, we thought that this is very, very necessary during this period when we moved to the online platforms and our audiences are beyond the geographical place or boundaries we are in. We have to understand more from where are our audiences from, so that we can also enhance our outreach and marketing efforts. So the statistics are also downloadable in a PDF format, and we have the advanced statistics that also give the artist the contact details, the email addresses of his audiences. And this is something that is written in our terms and conditions, where the audiences, they approve and allow the platform to share the email addresses with the artist, since they have bought a ticket for his or her event. Our observations so far, after hosting nearly 25 events during the past 9 months, are that we've seen that audiences, they have the tendency to pay for the online content. And this is when the audiences are from the loyal followers or the fans of the artist. People who don't know the artist are less likely to commit to paying for a ticketed online event. But also we noticed that theater, dance, and film are selling more than music. But we haven't hosted a lot of musical events so far. We haven't hosted new performances so far, new musical performances so far. So also we don't have enough data to confirm our analysis. However, from our initial findings, we thought that because music is widely more available online and there are so many music platforms such as Spotify and Ghani and other, that's why audiences have lots of alternatives. However, we are also going to examine again when we have a new production on the platform or a new collaboration, something interesting that is not available on other platforms. But for film and theater and dance, we've noted that people are more interested to pay for such a content, especially people, for example, we hosted lots of events from Egypt. So lots of Egyptians living abroad, they were very keen to watch those independent films or theater performances from their country because they are unable to access this content physically in Egypt. We have noted also that the platform through the platform, artists and institutions reached new target groups. And these new target groups tend to be more on the two broad spectrums of age. So a younger technology generation felt were more interested to interact with cultural content online than physical. Also, senior citizens found it more convenient to interact with cultural content online. And of course, the global aspect, people who are not physically in the same location. So, and that's what we have in our plan for Basita.life after the pandemic and beyond this critical time. When people are back to theaters and institutions are operating normally, we think that the virtual option still will remain as an option, as an interesting and crucial option as well for some target groups who are not able to be there in person or physically. So we see the platform offering a big opportunity for artists from all over the world and from the region as well. The platform is currently in English and Arabic, and we are planning to add more languages in the future. And we would like to encourage more artists to register on the platform. It's free. Artists do not pay a subscription fee or a registration fee, and the platform only deducts 25% of total ticket revenue when the artist creates an event and sells ticket. And the platform also includes the events in its newsletter and takes the risk with the artist, if the artist sells tickets or doesn't sell enough tickets, the platform only deducts the 25% that is actually the fees of the payment gateway and the streaming service and the servers, etc. So the platform for now is offering lots of opportunities to artists, and that's why we would like to encourage more and more artists to register and create events. Even they can share their old content, their archived content, if they have old performances that have been archived and they want to test how it functions, they can do that. The platform also has an app. And this is because through our statistics, we've seen that more than 95% of the people logging in on our platform, they log in from their mobile phones. So we created an iOS and Android app for an enhanced visitor and audience experience. So please, I encourage you all to register and start creating your events. It's automated, easy, simple, straightforward, and it's free. And if you have any inquiries, please feel free to email me or email our contact email, creativeusers@basita.live. Thank you very much.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Doa Doa 2021, the virtual docu-series. As you've heard from the speaker, now let's get to know the artist. The artist in focus this week is Deo Munyakazi from Kigali, Rwanda. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, my name is Deo Munyakazi, traditional artist, singer and songwriter. Welcome to Doa Doa Virtual Festival. Well, Munyakazi is a Rwandan traditional artist, musician, singer and songwriter, based in Kigali, Rwanda. He plays inanga, is Rwandan traditional musical instrument, which is made of strings and wood with a pentatonic tune. That's my sound. Nimuze kwimakaza umuco w'abanyarwanda nk'uko byahozeho, duhuza amarembo tugwiza amararo, dusenga n'Imana dusangire byose, dufumbata imfubyi dutera n'inkunga, duhana inka duhana n'abageni, nk'uko byahozeho. Isoko dusangiye ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda, ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda. Munyakazi wa mwene habarirwa mukuru kare wa Kidende cya Mutarataza wazirimo abagabo akagira impakampanga. Habe nk'ubitobo inkotanyi abagabo ingabene bayimashira ziraguhunga ni ikimenyimenyi uruhanga z'ubusa na cyenda nari gihangana. narayicuranze umuranga narayicuranze mu bwiza narayicuranze mu bukonyi narayicuranze cyane mu bwana cyangwa bagiye batera ku ruti rw'abantu bahagurutse bavuga amakwaya imiseke n'imiseke bagwiza mu itembo nanjye ncyura inganji nk'abandi isanzu nk'irya rusuka mwene temahagari wo mu gisaka. And that right there, it's sound of Kigali, Rwanda. Welcome to Doa Doa 2021. Well, my musical journey has been a blessing so far, because I got a time to introduce my music, my Inanga sound to the universe. I did collaboration with different artists, worldwide artists. I've been traveling in the music festivals, workshops, and many different projects. So, and I've released my album, which is named Isoko Dusangiye. So far, I'm still working, so I'm feeling grateful for my instrument. Growing up as a child, I used to listen to the sounds, traditional sounds, on the radio, on the cultural shows, but I couldn't think that I would be playing the Inanga. As I was interested in Rwandan culture, poetry, fortunately I met the one who plays the Inanga, who is named Mushabizi. Is the old maestro we have in Rwanda. So I was really impressed to meet him in person. I asked him to teach me. He said yes. So that's how I started my journey of playing the Inanga. So for now, what motivates me doing what I do every day is to bring back the original sound, the sound of Africa, the sound of Rwanda, and keeping alive African music. Wherever you are, this is the sound of Rwanda. Welcome to Doa Doa. Winongo jano mutaruta inyambo ahamata vuni mitozo nazanye nazivumera ebesabo begana injishi ibyanze ku ruhembe dore abana b'ibisage bitetera batamba namararo bahu namararo bako mwiriwe kandi muraho iye ngwino tugutembereze ngwino tugutembereze ngwino tugutembereze iwacu mu Rwanda ngwino tugutembereze ngwino tugutembereze ngwino tugutembereze iwacu mu Rwanda. That right there is the sound of Rwanda, the sound of Africa. My spiritual belief is God, and I love to link the religion and humanity. I think it's Doa Doa family. This is what I say, that praising the Lord it works also with a traditional sound. uwaguhaye uramushimira uwakugabiye ukamwitura maze nshimire yaduhanze iyo gahangwa amasiteka niyitugabira tugatunga yaduhezagira tukeza yadusiga tugasa neza niyirinde intambwe z'ibirenge byacu ngo hato tudatsikira shimwa mwami urakwiriye mwami urakwiriye urakwiriye mwami urakwiriye urakwiriye mwami ukwiriye gushimwa wastahili Bwana wastahili wastahili Bwana wastahili wastahili Bwana kupewa sifa osanide mukama osanide osanide mukama osanide osanide mukama okwebazibwa obonge nalo kumunzambe naga obonge nalo kumunzambe naga obonge nalo kumunzambe nangaye okwanenera rao okwanene okwanenera rao okwanene okwanenera rao okwanene okuzimirwa urakwiriye mwami urakwiriye urakwiriye mwami urakwiriye urakwiriye mwami ukwiriye gushimwa. Well, my dream is making the world, the universe more better than yesterday through my sounds. I love doing collaborations, been working with different musicians, Joston, Keza Jones, and many more, Cecilia Kairebga. But I really like collaborations because it gives more inspiration, and working together, fusing music together, it's creating something which is really good. And I've been part of Urban Music Rebel. It's a nice project which combined together different producers and electronic DJs and traditional musicians just to make new sound which never been before. So the one I'm dreaming to work with, to collaborate with, is Richard Bona. He's my favorite. Well, my favorite venue so far is Doa Doa. I've been there, we've been there at festivals. It was really, really good. We had so much fun, good experiment. And so far, another venue I would like to be is New York. I want to experiment the sounds of New York with the different musicians and Canadian festivals, Memorial, and somewhere else. So I like to travel the world experimenting new sounds. Do I have a new song very soon? Yes, I'm working on. I'm in studio, working on my new song, my second track of my second album, which will be released maybe in 3 weeks. Wherever you are, you can find my music on digital platforms like Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, and you can also buy my album on Bandcamp. You can find all my music, and on my YouTube channel I use Munyakazi Deo. You can follow me also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I use Munyakazi. Irabinda mukanyo maze banyikirize ye amahoro amaniyo ye amahoro milembe. Amani, 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 Here is my next song to you, The Sounds of Rwanda. Nimuze twimakaza umuco w'abanyarwanda nk'uko byahozeho, duhuza amarembo tugwiza amanaro, dusenga n'Imana dusangire byose, dufumbata imfubyi duterana inkunga, duhana inka duhanira abageni nk'uko byahozeho. Isoko dusangiye ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda, ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda. Abana b'ibisage batoza urukundo, abakobwa b'iwacu basusurutsa uruhembe, ababyeyi b'i Rwanda barwambarira impumbya, abasaza mbakunde bari mu misango nk'uko byahozeho, nk'uko byahozeho. Isoko dusangiye ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda, ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda, ni umuco w'abavuka Rwanda. I wrote this song, Isoko Dusangiye, just to remind people to be back to the roots, to the basics, to the essence as it was before, and bring back the culture. And that was my story here on Doa Doa as Munyakazi Deo, artist from Rwanda. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time. Peace.
Thank you so much for joining this week's show, Doa Doa 2021. I hope you had some fun and got some inspiration. If you have any comment, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave your comment, or our Facebook page, Twitter or Instagram. We'll definitely get back to you. We are very grateful, and until next week, I remain your host, Faizo Kiwewa from Bayimba and the Doa Doa team. Keep it Doa Doa 2021.
In recent years, music has become the most important art form in Iceland, and apart from the classical musicians and singers, we have very many well-known pop musicians like Björk, who the whole world has fallen in love with.
My calling was folk music. I've been a folk artist, and that is what I'm still doing. I started by being an apprentice of the late Dr. Albert Sempeke.
Uganda to the modern masters of creativity in Uganda, going across the world, the one and only Albert Opio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Oh, we're not coming.
No, we're doing from far.
We're doing from far. You guys have taken this thing to another
You keep your
level.
COVID, I keep mine. Keep your variant.
Oh my goodness. Well, and Albert, welcome to the program. We are really happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
And I always tell people that when you want to see the masters of creativity, you need to come to Uganda. I believe that Uganda has some of the best talent across the world. We are just not perhaps taking advantage of, selling ourselves across the world very well. The brand that you are sitting on today, you started the journey with this brand a few years ago. I even don't know whether you remember those late nights.
But the logo now is better.
Yes.
The one who succeeded me did a better job.
No,
Yeah.
it was built out of your creativity.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you very much for making sure that everything that we have here is really running. And I want to take opportunity to welcome all of you guys all across the world to their Creative Industry Talk. We will be bringing in Stella Tal all the way in France, and of course Faizo Chiwewa, who is on the way. Stella, welcome to the program. How are you doing? How is Paris? Bonjour, ça va bien?
Bonjour à tous. Yeah, I'm happy to be morning. Paris is good.
All right. Tal, I know that she's a distance away from Uganda. We know she's definitely going to settle. We are expecting Patricia Cahill from the Cahill Insights joining us on this conversation. And we want to start the show straight away. But I'll start by giving you a recap of what the program is about. And this particular discussion today is very key, going forward as far as creative industry in Uganda is concerned. We are looking at the UG creative sector. We're calling it the UG creative sector, and the challenges and the opportunity that lies in there. But Mr. Pio, the creative sector is one of the fastest growing parts of Uganda's economy. Over the years, and as a result, it offers very great opportunities to local business entrepreneurs or business people, as well as beyond, but particularly we're looking at the film industry, the TV industry, the sports, the games, as well as the digital marketing. But of course, not forgetting the advertising side where you started your career from and still is. And a lot of people don't understand that with today's digital technologies, UG creative or creative industry needs to take opportunity to actually be easily connecting to a wider market, because now the technology has taken us to what they call the village, the global village. Find new distribution channels, as well as identify the global demand for creative products and services out of Uganda. We're looking at the network and collaborations with other creative businesses and sectors across the world. Now, the challenges for the creative businesses in Uganda are quite many, and also the benefits are quite immense. We're looking at the situation that surround these three things we've talked about: connect to the wider markets, find the new distribution channels, and identify the global demand for creative, products and services, and networking and collaborations. Mr. Pio, before we dive deep into this discussion, we would like to know, who is Albert Pio in a nutshell?
Albert is a jack of all trades now. I was purely an artist before, because that's from training, from university. But I don't think the market was ready to purchase art, because the economy at that time, I left university in 99. So the economy was just trying to recover. So imagine from 66, 72, 79, there was up to 85. So by 86, there were still wars actually in many parts of the country. So most people are basically on survival mode. If I can get food, shelter, clothing, maybe education for children, that was key. purchase of art was not a necessity, because you need to have a certain peace of mind to be able to move away from the basics of life and say, I want to buy that song. I want to buy fashion. I want to buy a painting for my house. I want to change the design of my house to look interesting, so I need to find an architect. You have to have a certain peace of mind. And I think we have transitioned from survival mode, where we're paying for basics. Of course, now COVID is taking us backwards to survival mode, but we had reached the point where now we are purchasing art. But if I look at it from a creative perspective, when the colonialist left, he was replacing, whichever Muzungu left, they were replacing it with a Ugandan. So they were replacing doctors, they were replacing teachers, there were certain jobs that were being looked for at that time to replace. Art was at the very bottom, or anything creative was at the very bottom of the sphere. They did not need architects at that time per se. They needed draftsmen, they needed teachers, so those are the things that were required. So all our parents, if you check, were either teachers or nurses or doctors, or those are the things that were required at that time. But how many years have passed now? Now the creative space has opened up. We have architecture, you've got fashion that is coming up, you've got music, you've got the art scene, you've got comedy, you've got a creative industry called advertising. There's a lot happening, meaning that the commercial sector has opened up, and the commercial side is that asks for these things. Now, the pure artists like us who began painting, drawing, things have moved very fast. Because as we were drawing and painting, something called photography came to the scene. So the time it takes you to draw and paint, click.
The image is out.
I'll tell you a simple story. When we're going to bring it to digital as well, when photography comes, and then digital comes in to disrupt the creative space. Clinton, I think it was Clinton or Bush. Who came first? Bush or Clinton?
Clinton.
Who went to the Entebbe airport and did not leave, and then I think it was Clinton or Bush?
Clinton.
Yes. So New Vision Monitor, accredited journalists, was sent to, you take your camera to State House, they open it, they check that there's nothing, the next day you pick it up. So guys took pictures of course the Americans and the other international Reuters and AFP were ahead, so our guy is behind, trying to take a picture, because that guy in front is going to take a better picture than you. So they take the picture, and then with all the security levels, they have to get into a car and drive to New Vision and go to the dark room and process a film, take it to the photo editor, who looks at all the 30 or 50 images on the strips, and then says number 14, number 17, and then now that's what the guys in the dark room expose, and then that's when. So by the time he leaves Entebbe to the picture coming out, that's about 3 to 4 hours. Reuters, AFP took the pictures, uploaded. They had satellite technology, uploaded it on the cloud. But New Vision subscribed to Reuters, so in 20 minutes from the time the pictures uploaded, New Vision had it, and they were running the advert. Our poor chap came running, was still at Awaita Babidi. So the industry has really changed a lot. So the traditional artist, the guy drawing and painting, is struggling. The traditional photographer is struggling right now, because now everybody has become a photographer. Phones have become fantastic. Cameras on the phones have become really, really good, that everybody can become a photographer. We're in the advent of social media, so everybody can take a picture and upload. Those days, you had to take your picture, go to New Vision or your media house, your editor looks at it, and it runs, and then you're paid according to the size of the photo, and that's how you earn money. But if everybody is uploading things as they're happening now, and social media is now a media space, now you find that traditional media like print is struggling. So the guys who are taking photographs or doing things for print media have to reinvent themselves. Brings me to where I am right now.
Yes.
I am currently a fossil
Yes.
in terms of creative space. Because creativity now is young people.
Yes.
Guys who are 15,
Yes.
18,
Yes.
22, 25.
Yes.
So that's where the creative juices are coming along. And the young people today are lucky that their parents are open-minded about what they can actually study.
Yeah.
So you really don't have to go to university anymore. It was not a must that you have to go to university. Now you can actually learn a lot of things online, and you can be able to, you can learn Photoshop, you can learn how to use Lightroom, you can download these things online, you can use your tab as a, basically there's so many tools now for the creative space. So now everybody can be creative, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
Yes.
The people like me who have gray hair,
Yes.
we're in trouble. But the young guys,
Yes.
it's opening up so much.
Yeah.
COVID has actually helped to make us disappear. We need to go and start farming.
Yes.
If we're not willing to learn
Yes.
new ways of doing
Things.
creativity, we better go and do farming.
Hold it right there, Albert Opio. I told you this man is a wise man from the East. We're going to take a break, and the Creative Industry Talk will be joined by Patricia Kyle and, of course, Stella Tal in France, and Mr. Faizo Chiwewa, who is somewhere in some airport traveling. And we're going to try and make sure that we have everyone on the show today. Stay right there. I'll be right back after the break. This is the Creative Industry Talk.
An army of sheep led by a lion will beat an army of lions led by a sheep. That's a fake.
Yeah.
So let's be very honest about this thing, and really understand that you need to understand where you lie and where you fall. So it's very important for us to understand that leadership has to be definitive. You can't be laissez-faire. It has to be definitive. You have to be strong, just like a lion. You know, when a lion meets an elephant or a buffalo or whatever, the buffalo and all these animals run away. And yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion, they are heavier than the lion, they are more intelligent than the lion, they are taller than the lion. They run away. The lion, because of its attitude, it sees lunch. That is a leader.
Mr. Teretra, thank you very much for coming to the CEO bench. And I want to ask you, so if you were elected the President of the Republic of Uganda today, what would be your first State of Nation address? Now, as you look into the camera and close the show.
I think my first State of the Nation address would first of all to... I think I'll just close it down.
When you start a project, definitely, if it's a good idea, it has gone through the development process. Then you start what we call in fundraising as an institution or even an individual who has a creative project. There's what they call fundraising, and that is if it's a public good, it's a common activity. If it's a business, that's a different thing. So when you're doing a business, creative business project, you're not asking for funding, you're asking for investment. People just get turned off by just being asked. You know, you just come and say, Faizo, give me money. I'm like, who are you? You know?
Why should I give you?
Why should I?
What is it?
How do I get them to know that I exist? You're not asking yet, but you're just trying to check in, to test the waters and see how whether it's possible. I've met Faizo. I know Eddie. I can, we've had a conversation. I trust what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So that trust is built within that asking. Honestly, the money is there. There's a lot of money, and those who know how to find it, they always find it. But then you find others saying, oh, that one is taking our money. Yet you did make an effort to find it. We have sleepless nights. I wake up at 2 a.m. to write applications, proposals. I try to balance my office daytime and my fundraising time and all the other things. So you really have to make an effort. The US has just put out a call. The State Department has just put out a call for support for a collaborative grant between the US and Uganda. It's for institutions, it's for individuals, for practitioners that are interested in exchanging ideas and knowledge between US and Uganda specifically. And it's quite between $5,000 to $50,000. So it's available. I talked about earlier about the SCP fund, which was introduced already here in Uganda before COVID, I think. And finally, we got British Council and HEVA managing this fund for East Africa. So if the call is almost out, I think they'll put it out in May or June. And when that call comes out, you can apply for like 180,000 euros for 3 years, that you can do whatever you want to do. It's both institutional and for individual projects.
Please share it far and wide. We are live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. And this information will always remain there. You can watch the show anytime. You can share it far and wide. And Faisal will be back here next week. We'll be talking about investment into the creative industry and how we can go about it and who needs what, where, when, how. We'll be talking about it next week. Until next week, Eddie Okello, Faisal Chiwewa, the founder and the CEO of Baobab Foundation, we're signing out on the Creative Talk. Welcome back to the program. My name is Eddie Okello and this is the Creative Industry Talk. And of course, from the central part of the region of Uganda, Muganda, small but very dangerous, and of course silent but very dangerous. We often call her Sabada, silent but very dangerous. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Patricia Kyle to the Creative Industry Talk. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Abato Pio says you keep your corona there, I keep mine here so that we don't mix. No mask on the show, because then you're going to reinfect your lungs more and more while you talk.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you guys.
Yeah.
We'll be looking away.
Yes. And of course, we are going to look into Stella Tal all the way in France. Stella, how are you doing?
She can't.
Stella, are you able to pick? There is an internet problem in France today. Stella, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right. So Stella, I want to take you straight to the question I asked about Opio. Growing up as a creative person, who is Stella Atal? And of course, as a local, creative mind, fashion designer, visual artist, yes. Can you tell us who is Stella? Like you've heard from Albert Opio, that journey of, coming out of the university, and then he feels like the technology is edging him out. New people are coming, but he's fit and he's ready to go on. The young people are energetic enough. Opio is still energetic. How about Stella Tal?
Stella Tal, like I always say, she's a fashion designer and a visual artist. I may not say so much about my growing up because there is a lot that I've faced as a creative after I grew up than I faced when I was growing up. When I was growing up, everything depended on what my parents wanted me to be like. But then when I grew up, I saw that what my parents wanted me to be like, it wasn't what I was supposed to be. So you have to pave your way towards what you want to be. And it was really like a tough journey. Like I didn't hear what Opio said, but being a creative, most of the parents in Africa don't believe in creative children at home. They want you to be like the neighbor's child. They want to be like the relatives. And when we're growing up, if you're not an engineer, you're not a doctor, you're not like a lawyer, then you're nothing to the family. But for me, I knew I was an artist. I had a talent, and coming from a creative family, I knew there is no way you're going to force me to be a doctor. That is not me. So when we got into the industry, actually, I started when I was still in school. I don't know if Opio remembers, I used to work for Cassava Republic. That time I was still in high school. And I worked with Peter Tim for many years. He really nurtured me. He encouraged me. Then from there, I went to Nairobi. I did graphic designing, majoring in printing and packaging. That was the time of us using floppies. If you tell, and the new generation, right, designing we did was about, the floppy drives, and then they force you to do like editing, Photoshop using like those apps that were really, really complicated. But I may say that that really shaped me. And that was for us more of the organic training that we went through, which is not actually available right now. And I have to say, like, I'm privileged to have gone through that because I can talk much about the origin of the creativity that we are practicing right now. And then when we were starting like professionally in Uganda, that was the time when all the technology was coming up. Phones were being introduced. We didn't even know how to use the phones. Emails, we didn't even know what emails. We had to go to, I remember there was a cyber cafe on a Radio 1. And then there was another one, I think it's still there, near Christ the King. And you go there, they have to teach you how to create like an email address, how to use it. And then once in a while, of course, the Western world was already into the system. So they send you emails, and sometimes you take like a whole month without even opening your emails. And slowly we got into that system. And we had friends who had gone into like corporate companies, like banking, communications, and they really helped us to come out because we worked as a team. If Opio was a curator, he made sure that he markets my artwork. If maybe someone else was into communication, like television, they made sure that they put on my clothes when they're anchoring the news. Then the journalists, the writers from all like medias, the newspapers, they made sure like every week they looked for talents to put in their features. And that really helped us to come up. Knowing that we were creative, yes, but then without the support of these people, we wouldn't have made it to where we are right now. And for me personally, the way I really made it, I took advantage of my clients around me. Because yes, I was a great designer, I was a great artist, but then I didn't know the market part, the business part of what I was doing. But then within my circles, I had clients who worked with the banks, and I used to go to them and ask them, how is banking? How does the banking work? What is it? Why is it important in the creative sector? Then I have people from the marketing, the auditors, the accountants. I would go and seek knowledge from them. That is how I've managed to be who I am right now. But the challenge is we are outdated, I think, like what Pio said. If we don't venture into some other creatives, then we cannot compete with a new generation because it is so aggressive. There is access to everything technology-wise, and for us coming from the other Asian background, it's really hard to compete. For me personally, today I have to declare that I gave up working for my brand, that is at Stella, producing clothes and showcasing. Now I'm using my brand to transfer the knowledge that I've gotten all the years I've been working, to transfer that knowledge to the new generation and make sure that they succeed through their businesses like I have done.
For that, a very elaborate, background of how you ended up in creative industry. I think Albert Opio was laughing when you talked about part of the downtown Kampala Radio 1 around there, teaching you how to type and do things. But first, we need to welcome Patricia Kyle to the show. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Are you keeping well from the trouble of this world?
Yes, I am.
Yes. And how is Kyle Insights?
Kyle Insights is very okay. We are pushing on, flooding with questions. People want to understand how they can now come on the digital platforms, how to use them offline and online, which is interesting. We've been preaching this gospel for years. Finally, to some extent, we have to thank COVID in a way that has opened people's eyes to see that these platforms actually make sense. Recently, I met someone I had preached to when I just started, that is 8 years ago. And I walked in and a guy looked at me and said, "This is not going to work. There's no way we're going to start making money off phones. There's no way we're going to use phones as advertising grounds. Young lady, you need to find a real good job." Yeah, today, he, like what, 6 months ago,
yes,
he sent me an email and it's like, "Oh, I got your name and you're supposed to please come and help me." So I walked into the office and the guy looks at me and was like, "Wait.
It is you."
It is you. And I'm like, yeah, I got a real job.
Yes.
It's still the real job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Albert Opio. If you dive and pick it up from there, you've heard what Stella has said, and now this that has come from Patricia. What does that sort of like give you a picture of where we are going from where you are, and how do you feel having been there when it was looking like it was never going to be real at all?
Stella has taken us back. So since she has taken us back,
yes, let's start the story.
I want to
from there.
remember.
Yes.
I called Stella once because a client of ours, Big Fair, wanted to push their cotton fabrics. And we were like, okay, we need to design fabrics out of the cotton, clothes out of the fabric, and we need a fashion designer.
Yeah.
We have models, yes, but who is going to bring this to life? Yeah. That's how I met Stella.
Yes.
Then I was looking for models, and there was a young girl, yes, running around the place.
Yes.
It was her.
Yes.
I'm old, just to say that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is that the journey has been long.
Yeah.
I remember the floppy disks. You could save a file on, say, 4 floppies. And a floppy was what, 1.4 MB?
Yes.
But you couldn't go beyond 1.3?
Yes.
Or the floppy would crash.
Yes.
So, so if you had a 5 MB file,
yes,
which is typical photos on your phone right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
One picture is 5 MB.
Yes.
Then artwork was 5 MB. Yes. So you put floppy 1. It loads up to 1.28.
Yes, yes.
Please insert floppy number 2. And then, until you finish. And then you have to number them. Because if you put the wrong one, then you're going to spend an hour trying to figure out which one goes first.
Yes. I remember my first job when I was sent with that thing, and the artwork that came out didn't turn out well. My God, I was almost fired, even killed.
Yes. So then as soon as I left university, painting, brushes, that was my thing. And then we come out, and then there's a thing called computers. Like, okay, that has changed everything. Because when I was leaving university, they were training the lecturers.
Yes.
So lecturers
on how to use the
computer. So when we graduated, we were the last. Yes. So the guys were learning. For us, we got out the next year. Yeah. That's when computers came. And the computers were like, what, 6? For, I don't know, in the whole art school. Yeah. So there had to be some formula on how everybody uses the computer. It was crazy. So I had to go to a cafe, again, internet cafe. Those are the people who had computers.
Yeah.
They were modern.
Yeah.
They had computers, they had the software, so you pay, and then you learn. And then it was a journey of teaching yourself and going through all these processes. But then we had people who were professional photographers, because then they shoot the photos, they bring them to you, you edit the software, you lay out in the software. Even the software we're using Corel Draw, Corel Photo Paint. Yes. It changed. Yes. I started Photoshop 5.
Yes.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So you never went from 1
10.
up, yes.
Then from 10 we went to Creative Suite.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then now we're going to CC.
Yes.
So we were from the old school. You could save a file and it doesn't open because your software either is too old or it's too new.
Thank you.
So my old school self up to now, when I design something, I design it for software two generations below. Because I do not know who on NASA Road or which printer, how updated their software is. And that's where I beat the young people.
Wow, that's how.
Because when I send a file to the printer, rarely will I get a phone call.
Wow.
That it cannot open, it cannot do this. And the young people right now have all the tools, they're extremely creative, and there are some things where if I, like, take photography today.
Yeah.
Then, we had a guy called Gibbons, Mzungu guy.
Yeah.
Would want to take a shoot. Uganda Telecom wants to do a shoot, a thematic campaign. Then the guy's like, when do you want this? When was July? August I'll be on holiday with my family. That'll be 3 weeks. Then after that, maybe we'll do August, September.
About 4 weeks.
So yeah, September I'll be available. You moved your campaign and you start to find other things to do. As you wait for the photographer to come from holiday with his family.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
Today, you go to Shutterstock, you go to freepik.com, you go to 123RF,
Yes.
you go to Cobis, which was bought by...
Yes.
You just pick your phone.
You can do that, yes, but you see, professional quality photographs are now $10, $15, $100. And I pay now, it starts downloading now. So meaning, I can come up with an entire campaign in one night. I go home and sit down, my internet is on. Let me tell you about 2006.
Oh.
I had to go with my floppy to a cafe to look for images, put them on the floppy, run back to the office because we didn't have internet, put it in there and try and use them. They're not working. Go back to the cafe, get more photos, and these are low resolution, like 150 KB photos. And then Photoshop would
stretch it.
You have the things, then you blur it such that then you create some artistic thing to it. No, it was artistic.
It look like this. It's
it
too
wasn't.
artistic.
It was intentional.
Yes.
You're dealing with low resolution photos.
Yes.
Then with the flop, now when Uganda Telecom gave us something called Freenet.
Yes.
So you disconnected the landline.
And then you put
it in the computer. Then actual clicked dial. Then you until it could dial for a minute. I'm like, today it has jumped. Unplug, plug again. Bring maybe your computer. You bring yours.
It tries yours.
Then it connects. Like, it has connected on Eddie's computer. Now you start queuing. Who wants to check his mail? What I'm saying is that where we're coming from, it was really so hard to be in our business. Today, with my phone, I can go to Canva. I can go to Crello. They have templates already. They'll tell you, you want to put it on Facebook? Which part of Facebook? Do you want the cover? Do you want this? Yes. It's already there. You just, I want this one. You got it, which on Twitter? You want Twitter? Twitter. As you just pick one.
Instagram.
Do you have your own images or we give you?
We give you an image.
Do you have fonts? Yes. But we also have ours. So you basically, now, the people, I was talking about this, I don't know when, that I'm getting out of this business. No, okay, not getting out, but to think that way, everybody's putting their things on Jumia. It's becoming like Amazon. Because whatever you have, you just put it online and this thing, somebody thinks. Jumia, right? So things are being disrupted. Now you order for food from Mama Nakas, and it comes on self-border. Before you had to actually go to Seven Chais in one day.
That was near. No, do you remember Mama Kachala down in Katwe?
Yes.
Where you'd go and there would be a section of corporate guys and a section of low-end guys and a section of
to the
corner there. Yes, too loud. Linda go to Sebo. So things have really changed. If you look at chefs,
There's a guy called Baramaga Rogers.
Yes.
He's a lawyer,
Yeah.
but he likes cooking. And he posts it on social media. Before, a guy like that one who was passionate about cooking
Yes.
had to open a restaurant.
Thank you.
Meaning, it's a whole new business. He has to pay rent, hire people. He was going to collapse. But
I
now,
wanted to hold it there.
cook the food,
Yes.
upload.
I want to hold you there, Albert. In fact,
Go to
oh yes,
school.
yes, 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 yes,
I
yes,
didn't go to school.
Good, but I learned
Now-
yes, yes, yes.
I learned
Yes,
things like, I'm now a millionaire,
Yeah.
but buy my thing.
Yeah.
I'm a millionaire, yeah, but buy my thing. But he says some nice things. He
yeah,
says,
yeah.
5 years ago, he told everybody social media marketing. I told you, those who listened made money, those who did not. Anyway, if you didn't listen, that was you.
Yeah.
He said, now the new thing is buying things online. What's it called? E-commerce.
E-commerce, yes.
Everybody's going to go e-commerce. But there are not many people who can help businesses go e-commerce. So if you are a creative person, number one, you have to be able to design the look and feel of your whatever page it is, whether it is Facebook or whatever, or your website or e-commerce site. You must design it. You must be able to upload things on your site, remove, upload. That means you must have learn some tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
That crafts, which Opio has talked.
I was 12 years old, you know this already. And growing through that system.
12 years old. Did your father own the internet itself?
Dial-up situations. Yeah, we have suffered with that one. But I grew up in this, the whole on.
We want to know from you, Stella, financing of some of the things we're talking about. You've heard what Opio was saying, you've heard what Patricia is saying, but we want to know how you left the streets of Kampala to the streets of Paris, where you now sit, and how you change away from, she said she's no longer doing her own.
She's not imparting.
Yes, she's teaching kids. She teaches kids, yeah, exactly, and she's already forgotten about her brand. Which means there must have been something that has happened in the process for her to forget her brand, because otherwise survival would have been difficult for her and her family. Stella, that question goes to you. The Legal and Intellectual Property Corporation, we're going to get back to it, and we're going to get back to Opio on that one. But Stella, how are you selling your fashion and your fashion house? How is it doing? How are you selling? Are you selling things online? Where can I find? Can I order? Or it's not? If I need a child to teach me or to teach my son in Kampala from Paris, what do I do? How do I go about it?
Actually, for me to change from taking time promoting my brand to where I am now, it's been like COVID that has made me realize the other part of me, which is training. Because before I came here in 2016, and literally I traveled every single weekend. I had shows every single weekend. I was never home. The only time I was home is when I was maybe like Monday to Thursday, and I used the time to produce collections that I was going to showcase the following Friday or the following weekend. I've been to so many countries that some of them are even just, it's like a dream that I've been there, because you just get there, you showcase, you leave. And in 2019, I actually slowed down. I was like, I'm moving so much. It is too much. Can't I do something that really makes me sit home for some time? And that's when COVID came in, because you never even have like holidays. When I'm here, the 4 days I'm here, Monday to Thursday, you're creating at work, then you have other programs you're running in schools here, the community, and you basically like on your toes 24/7. So when COVID came in, actually I remember I was going to Sudan. There is a program I'm doing in Sudan, the fashion program, and it's trying to help the Sudanese fashion designers promote fashion through their culture on the global level. And I was insisting, yes, I have to go. So everyone was like, no, Stella, all the countries are closing down. That was March last year. And I was like, yeah, but no, everything has been like in place. Everyone is waiting for me. I have to give a presentation, this, that, ticket bought, hotel booked. And then everyone looked at me. They're like, Stella, you're not going anywhere. I said, I have to go. Then midnight, the night before I traveled in the morning, watching the news, and our president is like, lockdown. So I was like, okay. So I send immediately my team in Khartoum. I send them a message. I'm like, yes, we've been put into lockdown. So we thought lockdown was going to be 1 month or a few weeks. Then I said, the following week, I was like, okay, now I'm settled. Let me think about collections. I'm going to showcase after the lockdown. So I was so energetic the first week, very energetic. Then as time went on, you're still within this four-cornered house, from the bedroom to the kitchen to the sitting room to the bathroom. So you lose the interest. Even the collection I was working on, I gave up. Now I started watching news. You wake up, you watch news, you do exercise. All of a sudden, even you lose interest in all that. What next? Now you start playing with the children. Even the children are getting on your nerves. They can't see their friends. You're not allowed to get out of the house. Basically, you're just in the prison. And when I talked with my team in Sudan, and they're like, we need to make this happen, whether you're here or not. What do we do? I said, okay, fine. From the curriculum we had come up with, because I was supposed to do it like in Khartoum, like physically. But then we said, okay, what can we do? I said, okay, you know what? Let me come up with a program and let's do part of it online as we wait for COVID to settle down and I can come. Then while I was doing that, then there came a situation where people ran out of masks. You know, the frontline workers didn't have masks. So now the government was looking for designers in France to help out with making masks. So they gave like tenders to designers to make masks. It wasn't for free, of course. They gave us they gave us money, but then you could also volunteer because we relied, France, you may call it like a fashion capital, but then we relied on the importation of such small things that are so essential. At one point, there was no single mask in the hospital. So all the designers, they sacrificed to make masks they could give out for free to the frontline workers. I remember Louis Vuitton, there was Hermes. They volunteered because they make really good perfumes. So they volunteered to make sanitizers out of their perfume products to give them afford. There was not that we couldn't afford, but we relied on the importation of such products from China. So after a few months, Macron realized that, okay, if these people are so active like this, which means if we stop the importation of these products from China, this country is able to produce locally these products. So now they started encouraging people who could produce things locally to do that. And to do that, they encouraged designers who could give like training to the local community to empower them and to give them skills to produce things locally. So that is how I started training people how to do like masks. Then you train them how to like start marketing their products. I could still produce clothes and sell them online. How do you do that? Like Opio, and she said digital marketing was now the in thing. Everything had closed. So I was like, okay, I had an advantage. First of all, I've been in the business for 13 years and I have the knowledge that I've acquired from my clients from different sectors that have helped me be who I am right now. I know exactly what is needed for the industry to grow. I know how the designers can create their brands, market, and get investment opportunities. So I came up with modules that can help designers start their brands, market them, and take them onto the global market, but also train them in the financially, like economic, not economic, but how do I say? It's a for funding. They ask for funding. They have to make sure that the money they are going to get is going to do ABCD. And when I do ABCD, this is how I'm going to pay back. And you have to make sure that you pay back. And we
well, this is the Creative Industry Talk. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Albert Opio, Stella Tal in France, and Patricia Cahill right here in Kampala. And hopefully we'll be able to catch...
to test the waters and see how whether it's possible. I've met Faisal, I know Eddie, we've had a conversation, I trust what he's going to do.
Yeah.
So that trust is built within that asking. Honestly, the money is there. There's a lot of money, and those who know how to find it, they always find it. But then you find others saying, oh, that one is taking our money. Yet you didn't make an effort to find it. We have sleepless nights. I wake up at 2 a.m. to write applications, proposals. I try to balance my office daytime and my... So it's available. I talked about earlier about the SCP fund, which was it was introduced already here in Uganda before COVID, I think. And finally, we got British Council and HEVA managing this fund for East Africa. So if you are, the call is over.
Will always remain there. You can watch the show anytime. You can share it far and wide. And Faisal will be back here. Next week, we'll be talking about investment.
Whatever. The buffalo and all these animals run away, and yet, by the way, they are stronger than the lion.
And if you're not creative around this time of the show itself, then you're probably not a creative person, because these guys have shared so much about how you can navigate the challenges, tap into the opportunities, and be able to cross the border with your product or with your creativity and sell your product. Well, Albert Opio, Cahill, Insights. Opio said we should call you like that because we have to come for Insights itself from on how to survive
We have to learn.
online, because this is the only time she's very relevant to us right now, because she's been there since she was 12, and some of us are learning when we are 40. So you can imagine the difference between the situation we are going through. Well, welcome back to the program, guys. And Stella Tal in France, thank you very much. I want to just take you guys through this. While there are many benefits come out of the digital advances, so does one of the major challenges, okay, for the industry. And I would like to say this: the global competition from the film production to design to new international centers for creative businesses all across the world are developing rapidly across the globe. All right, and that's the fact. I mean, you've heard from Stella the story of France not being able to, they survived so much on import of this stuff from China, and COVID-19 came and hit, and then all the creative people are now at the forefront to try and make sure that we have the mask for the first line, health workers to be able to use. I think I found that very fascinating, and I think that if Uganda had done the same thing, we would be very far. I don't know how many of us hand sanitizers we have now hit if we have overtaken Brazil. The president said we are going to overtake Brazil in that context. I don't know whether we have overtaken Brazil already, but I know that we did produce many of them. But the other side, Patricia and Albert, this thing is also making it quite harder for small businesses to enter the new emerging market, which means you have to be sharp enough, you have to be smart enough, you have to be like Albert Opio. You have to be seeing this thing, like Opio said, there are certain things, the rule of the third when you're designing, and the things you should do and the do's and don'ts, those were taught. And Opio developed skills out. It says, yes, I am here. You are here with all these things, but still, I am still making money better than you, because Opio has certain skills and is going through, which the young people don't have, and many of the businesses are closing. The world says Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. All right? And they also said we are culturally the most diverse country in the world. Now, ideally, we should be the richest country in the world with what we have. And Patricia, I want you to dive into that.
Like the reason,
Yes.
actually, this is interesting for me because I am one of the young people who is supposed to be dead in business. Because wait, our business don't last for 5 years. And now I'm here tethering to 10 years. So yeah, Kahil, you've done it. But here's the thing.
Yes.
I actually don't believe that I've done anything yet. Because I've not held, someone has not come in to say, Patricia, here, let me hold your hand. Let me show you the ropes. I'll tell you straightforward that I started Kahil Insights with my own sweat of 5K. 5K Banange guys. 5K. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
Uganda shillings, please add, not Kenya shillings.
Uganda shillings
yes,
5K. And it was to buy me data. And I wrote a blog that brought me money, 300K. That is how Kahil Insights comes in. You see? But no one came in to hold my hand to tell me how a company runs. I had to learn on the job. So you're doing the business and doing it here. I'm bringing this story because you said somewhere there that young people businesses are failing. And why are they failing? Because the adults who are the Alberts, who have been in, have not identified to say, Kahil is doing something nice. Let me walk in and offer mentorship. Adults, Munange, you want us to run to you. But then you also look at us as young people who have no ideas. We want everything. We are so loud. We are everything. So how are we supposed to come to you to get the mentorship that we need or the grooming that we need to have our business grow to making the money that you're asking for, to make us a rich country? And when we do come, when we decide and say, you know, I need the help, then you're going to put all these prerequisitions on us without even understanding where we're coming from. Example, the person I went to give business earlier, and they told me my business, I need to find a job. You see? So we are all bundled up in our own sector. We are all bundled up in our own ideas and supporting each other. But we are supporting each other from a place that is, we do not have experience. So we are creating our experiences and solving them in the same time. So our will, this is why it is so fast for you to even come in and help. Right now we've decided to say, let me go in, get burnt, I'll come back and tell you guys that I got burnt, but now this is how you do it. Because no one outside is saying when you pass there, you get burnt. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when our technology walked in, do you know who the first people who discouraged technology? You, the old people.
I knew you were going to come there.
You said we spend so much time on Facebook. You made sure that when we even got employed in your businesses, you switched off the internet so we don't access Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, any of those platforms. You waste a lot of time. Am I wrong?
No, exactly.
You're not wrong.
Actual ones.
Yes, yeah.
Now we found our ways. Well, get a mobile phone, don't use your internet, I'll use my internet. Now you guys are walking into our space and saying it is now important. Hey, for crying out loud, guys. First go back 10 years, 5 years ago, you said it was not. So now, it's like payback. Indirectly, actually, young people are paying you back. This is why, when you closed Facebook, we went to VPN. We're like, don't worry. It is okay. You don't want us to be online, it is fine. We will be online in our own dark web. You see, what I'm trying to show is, the adults or the government or the whoever is in power in whatever way, you're not making it safe enough to say that this is necessary for the country. Right now you're putting 12% on the internet beginning 1st July. And how do you expect the creative industry of I cut my shoes and I tailor my clothes, I have a Facebook page, and now my internet that I was working at, I was paying 100 MBs at what, 2K? Now I'm going to put 2.5 for 100 MBs. How is that removing money from my profits? So that you who is asking for the economy to grow, the economy can grow. And where is my 500 of the 12% on the internet coming back to help me? Because you're not even investing back in my small sector business, my creative business at all. You see, even like a small thing you would have said, okay, I'm giving you free internet to grow. You're not enabling it to grow. You're closing the platforms I'm working on. Ugandans, the biggest percentage of Ugandans are on Facebook. They use Facebook for almost everything that they need, but it is blocked. When we want now WhatsApp, we also want to close WhatsApp because it's where we are sharing all the videos. Now where do you want us to make money from? We're the creatives.
Wow. Well, Albert Opio, I know you are itching to jump in there, but I want to say something. Sometimes also the young people are nasty. The word is,
who taught us?
The word is nasty.
Who is the adult who taught us?
You see, attitude.
Who is the parent? Who is the parent? Who taught us to be nasty?
Sips coffee.
Please, when you're blaming, be sure that they are your children.
Yes, the reason why I'm saying this is because sometimes I know you said about mentorship that wasn't there. Actually, I was mentored, you know, and I come from a generation of the class of 1983, 84.
Were you mentored in the technology?
Yes. Well, I was mentored. Reason being, my attitude towards my mentee was good. Before we went for a break, Albert Opio was telling us here how the young people they were mentoring before, and what he said in the break when we were off the camera when we break, when he said that when I look at the companies that I've worked for all these years, my CV can no longer get me a job because all of them have closed down. The CV is closed down, so he has only one company under his CV, which is the company he started and is still surviving. Okay, real marketing.
Yeah.
Now, if our attitude towards, you know, grooming is not okay, but we want to hang out with the old people, the old people are going, there's going to be a clash.
Yes.
You know?
That's right.
And when there is that clash, it means that we are not learning. And so, whereas the young people are now succeeding on the internet and you've learned all this, but you see the old is coming and clicking your wing every now and then. You say 12% is coming in July and things like. So when you skip a step, there's going to be that. How do we make it better? How do we navigate this challenge? In fact, I want to ask Albert Opio this question before. Albert Opio, what constitutes to the creative industry in Uganda? And basically the examples we want you to give us, and then look into what Patricia just said, which is the the common challenges that we are having right now between the old and the young, and the categories of some of these things that we're talking about. How do we address them going forward as we bring the show to a close? But also, we want to touch the branding. Some of these people are also talking about this thing, but personal branding is very key, and the branding in general of a product. I know we can't complete this program today. I've already seen a lot of requests saying this show cannot end today and our time is fast spent, but Albert, dive into it.
Patricia got so passionate
Yes.
about these old people.
Yes.
But I can look at it from a different perspective.
Yes.
There will always be challenges that young people find. Either it's regulation or it's people who are not yet ready for the changes that are coming. But young people are dynamic. Young people are, they're just built to find a way around things. When our parents put the phone in the box and said they were very happy that no one has called, we found a way of calling. That was old people that time regulating us. But we found a way.
We found a way, yes.
Watching the deck, go to your parents' bedroom, remove it, make sure everything, remember where everything was, come and watch, then 4:30, guys, put it back, clean, remove fingerprints. You get what I'm saying? That there will always be challenges for young people getting into a new space. Because that time when it was a deck, parents did not understand what a deck was. Why are we wasting power? That time it was wasting power. Now we're talking about wasting data. You get it? So that time it was power, this time it is. So there'll always be something which kind of hinders the young people's ability to change. But look at me, I use 1 GB of data a day. I think 300 of that is used to look for money. The other 700, I'm watching YouTube videos, I'm watching things, I'm on Nat Geo, I'm on Facebook, those videos are loading automatically. Those things are eating my data. Because I think for me at this point, I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for a spark. I think my old journey is becoming obsolete, and I'm looking for a new journey. So I'm looking for ideas. So much as I feel like I'm wasting 700 MB a day, I think that is school fees that I'm paying in terms of learning something new. So when I see people complaining about, say, being online and freezing or closing, I'm like, okay, channel 1 was you're starting your small business and you're using Facebook as a platform to market your products. If you look at the data from the government, they say pretty much 80% of the people who were online are still online. So the guys, in fact, they're probably going to remove OTT because they said it hasn't worked. The money it has generated is not worth it. So that's why they're removing it and putting it on
the
data itself, such that everyone, all the 18 million phones, by default, pay that. Because now, like me, I paid OTT.
I pay also. Even this morning, I paid for us to be on this show.
Yes. So I pay because I am a regulation guy. I don't like fighting government over small things like 200 shillings. So I pay. But it hasn't worked because the young people have shown the government or the older people that we can work around your systems. So, and that is a good thing about being young. You're always willing to try out new things. But let's go back to how a young person can use the opportunities that are there and change their business. Maybe selling shoes online or selling, what's the most popular thing they sell online? I don't know.
I sell masks.
Right now,
Clothing.
Food, masks.
And food.
You get it?
Food is the...
Maybe that was the first thing that you used the internet for or used the online social media for. That was idea number one. That doesn't mean the ideas are frozen.
No, it doesn't.
The ideas are many. Eddie, you've wanted to have a TV show for a long time. The guys in the industry closed here and closed here and closed here. And now we're online. You get where you control and regulate how you want to be online. You determine who comes to the show, you determine how the graphics. Basically, everything is in your control. You've beaten the system. So when they said OTT, you paid because you're like, me, I want my system to be online. So we need more people going into these small challenges are worse than the challenges we had where I had to go with the floppy.
Where sometimes the diskette would, the way you put it in the pocket, if that thing just moves like this, and it doesn't open and the thing crashes.
Exactly. There was a technology called zip drive.
That
guy was like a king. If you had a zip drive, he would take your wife. Those guys were angels. But the technology came and wiped them out, right? So every time there's a challenge, there's an opportunity. I realized two things. One, I talk a lot. and somebody said, Herbert, I think you need to put that mouth to use. Make money from that mouth. Maybe the skills I have in clicking and whatever, maybe that's not where I'm supposed to be.
You need to be
Maybe that's where my training was, but that might not be where my skill is. For example, I like teaching. You get it? So why am I not teaching? So I like talking. Why am I not making money from talking? So in other words, I should start saying, what can I do with these other things that are sleeping? But then I don't want to do it in a haphazard way. How am I going to make money? So I need to go and pay Kahil Insights. So she gives me insights. So I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now break it down for me. Which one do you think, with my skills? Which one do you? Let's do the mathematics for me. Which one? Age is a number. I'm not being left behind with this technology thing. I'm coming. Anyway, but you have guys like Top Gear. How old are those guys?
They're very old.
But they're on YouTube. They're on TV. They're old guys, but they're relevant. So I don't think the technology changes have removed age as a factor. If you're willing to learn, you've got to be able to. So I think the young people have to look at the innate skills that they already have and say now, and open up, broaden. That's why I was really happy this way. But then there was an art, there was a way to explain. There was a way to explain why his legs are like that. They'll say abstract. So there was nothing wrong. Everything in creativity.
Remember that thing in the art school where they say the mistake is the art, is the art.
Exactly. So we learned not to look down on anybody's. So if you draw things funny, we look for the good thing in that funny. So there was an elective called objective study, which was exactly what it was. Objective study. So they'd get a goat. I'll give you an example of a goat. They get a goat and like, there is a goat. We're not saying compete with the camera to draw the goat. But what do you see And everybody sees the goat differently. So someone like, maybe I started the mouth. And then he focuses on the mouth only. And that is his skill. And I'm like, I want to see how, I'm sitting down. So the goat, of course, doesn't stay in one place. You know, goats are restless. So standing, lying there. So in that time, pick what you think is your thing. The next day, they killed the goat. The week later, they killed the goat. Then the goat is there, dead. What do you see in that goat? A week later, the goat is rotting. There are flies. It's smelly. What do you see in the goat? In the goat. What is the beauty out of that? Until we reached bones. It took us 3 months to draw this goat from when it is alive up to the end. And they were just trying to tell you, break out of your... We all know what a goat looks like, but each of you, what are you seeing?
Imagine this goat that when it is not moving, it's like
because some people can look at the way the maggots are, you know, and you know when you look at a maggot, it's kind of beautiful. You can look at it with all its grooves, and then other people are like, it's dirty, it's ugly, you know, it's messy, you know. So basically, everybody, you could see all those reactions in everyone's art. Someone's like, it's messy, it's ugly, it's beautiful. So someone would draw something, a wound, cut where the, and it's rotting and draws it and like, this is the most beautiful wound I have ever seen. You get it? Eh? But everybody was interpreting that assignment differently. So no one was wrong. And that, when I came out of university, I looked at everything as, where can I find the positive? So I'm never a negative guy. I'm always like, okay, so they've blocked the Facebook. Okay, the Facebook is closed.
So when and how do I get through it?
What about the YouTube?
What about Twitter?
What about Twitter? What can I do on Twitter?
What about this LinkedIn thing?
Yeah, this LinkedIn thing. What do they do there? You get, what's TikTok thing?
They're for young people, but I think I can use it.
What is Vimeo? What is Vimeo? What is Vimeo? So I am wired to look for a way out because in the training in art school there was no roadblock. Whatever you did, it was like the lecturer come and ask you, take me through. I've seen what you've done. Just what is the thinking? Let's tap into how have I arrived here? Then when he understands where I'm going, he now tells me the principles. That I like where you're going, but if you could do this, it doesn't tell you what to do. It just tells you, he tickles and like, maybe this direction, maybe that. I remember painting, I painted something. I had no idea what it was. They said, go outside, pick any object and make a composition out of it, and that on those objects are where, so make a story out of all those random things you're picking from outside. So we pick them and I draw them and I'm painting and I swear I was lost on my own thing.
No, that reminds me of...
who turned out to be a very good friend of mine. He was in third year, I was in first year. He was Gerald Lukongwa.
Yes.
He's passing by, third year guy, they know they're almost done. Then the person like, what is this? Like, yeah, me, I got this thing, the guy I'm drawing it, they told us that the guy's like, I see where you're going. Then he turned it like this. Now here I see a landscape, I see this, I see that. I'm like, wait, which landscape? I was like, I see the landscape, I see the landscape. So this thing looks like a person, like they're walking, they're like, wow. I said, I turned it and then I enhanced what he saw. They looked at my artwork, I'm like, the lecturer was like, who did this? Now you're getting the point. I'm like, what? So now I was confused because I did not know how to do another one without Gerald. I was like, Gerald, come. I have another one. To you turn and I see.
How it works.
How it works. But the key issue was
and now,
open up your mind. Just let it flow. So I can understand the challenges that the young people feel like now every space is being closed. But I think they're narrowing their perspective too much. And they need to open up and see the opportunities. I want to do, for example, this mosaic wants to go and have a YouTube channel of two things. There are two things I like very much. Eating local food, eating local food. 2, travel. Or merging the two, because everywhere you go, you must eat food. Now, like for example, I give it here for free. If I don't do it, or someone else does it, right?
Can I give you a better plan?
Shoot.
Go TikTok.
TikTok.
Don't go YouTube.
So your school fees you haven't yet
Yes,
received.
pay.
I have to pay.
Pay.
So anyhow, so what I'm saying is that I'm thinking about it like, okay, I like travel. Every time I make some money and the weekend is free, I want to enter the car, put fuel, drive. I've been doing this. I drove around Lake Victoria, drove around Uganda, drove around, as in went fishing on the lake, in Lake Albert, to fish mukene. You know, we did all these things, but everybody asks, are you documenting what you are doing?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was like,
The
okay,
story.
all right, so okay, how do I document? Because I have Bigambo, I can type and I write. Yeah, but there's better ways of documenting. You need a video. Like now I have to learn video. And I have to learn video. Do I have friends who know video? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now I have to collaborate.
Yeah.
It's now a part about collaboration. I have to find, if I'm good at one thing, how do I mix? How do I mix? Now the training and advertising allows me to look at a project from helicopter
View.
and look at it. I'm like, okay, where do I plug in the advertiser? Because usually most creative people think creatively,
Yeah.
but the advertiser is like, I don't see
Where I can come.
how do I help you?
Yes.
Help me.
You need to help you. Yes.
So
Wow.
This thing is watched by many people.
Yes,
I get it,
But what are they watching?
what's in it for
yes, me.
I see you're a very
Yes,
creative
yes,
guy.
yes.
You're talented.
Yeah.
Your show is beautifully done. It's nice.
Yes.
But what is in it for me? And that's where now I think the training and advertising is going to come to the fore. And
Wow.
that's what I have to add.
Stella Tal in France, you've had a story from Abba to Pio. You're going to give us your last take briefly. Stella, our time is fast spent today. We'll stretch this show by 15 minutes more, and we're going to make sure that we go to Stella, come back to Patricia, and we'll close the show. Stella, if you wrap it up right there, you've heard what Albert was saying. I think that the lesson we pick from Albert Opio and Patricia is that, one, there is always a way out. If they close the one going to Karamoja, find a way from the Western Uganda to get to Karamoja. Whichever way. Stella, over to you.
Trust me, I found my way out.
Yes.
This comfort zone, I didn't know that there was this part of me, the trading part of me. But for me, waking up and sitting in front of the computer, trading children from all over the world, makes me feel like the knowledge I'm passing on is really relevant in the development of areas. And we have been appreciated, the fruits of the students who have undergone my training, what they're doing right now. Just after a few months of training, it makes me feel like I've been seated on a talent I never realized. And thanks to COVID, that it made me get to this side of me, which is passing on my knowledge that I've acquired for the last 13 years and passing it on to the new generation and helping them out grow their brands. For me, I feel proud about that. And I feel we haven't discussed so much about what we wanted to discuss today. And I would love to continue from here because there is a lot that we can share with the new generation. And there is a lot they can learn from us. Much as they call us old age, ancient people, but there is a lot. And when Opio was talking about like training in a university, I remember, I don't know which university he went to, but I remember at Makerere when we had Maria Chizito, he used to take us out for nature painting. And then you go to the field and then he tells you, I want you to draw this. And then he gets there and then you've drawn something different and he's going to bang your head like this and you're like, shit. He was really tough, but then he wanted us to get some information that we're not doing. Like I draw something, he's telling me to draw a mountain and then he's telling me to draw what I'm seeing. But what he's seeing is a mountain and trees, but me, I'm seeing something different. So I'm drawing something different, and when he comes, he's going to get two of you who have done a mistake, and he's going to bang your heads. And it's so hurting that you have to wake up and get to know exactly what he wants you to learn, which is not in the modern way of training because you're not supposed to beat children. You're not supposed to hurt them. So it is really complicated. Even sometimes when I got training, I remember when I was still in Uganda, I was given an offer to train at Heritage. But then the challenge I got, the children were not really into the art class because they loved art. They were into the art class because they didn't have any other lesson to take, like music or any other creative lesson. So you're teaching and children are doing their own things. First, they thought that the teacher before me, who was an old lady, they disrespected her because of age. But when I started teaching them, I found the challenges with the children. And my class was on Friday. You give them assignments. They don't want to go with their books at home. They tell them their weekends are for playing with their families, their friends. So I told them 3 times. Then I went and told the principal, you know, you're wasting your money to pay me to do this work, and I am wasting my time because what I want these children to learn, they are not interested. They're in this class because they don't have an alternative choice, something else to do. So I would be grateful if I don't waste my time and you don't waste my money to pay me for no work done. Because if I teach someone and I don't see the progress, or I don't see someone succeeding in what knowledge I've given, then for me, it is not a successful story. So I gave up after 3 lessons, and I don't know if they managed to get someone, because even the people who came after me, they faced the same challenges. So I would like to continue with this conversation because it is heading to something that is interesting, not only to the creative industry, but also to the education system and also to the young children. There is a lot that we need to share. There is a lot that we need to learn from each other in order to make a creative industry develop.
Stella, wow. Patricia, we are back to you. As I can see here, this show is going to have a part 2 and a part 3 because you and Albert, you're not yet done. And of course, now that we know Albert is looking for new skills or training, I would like to facilitate the process of you giving Albert Opio this lesson live on television so that his contemporaries can see him learn from you, pick insights from Kyle insights on how to document his travel and how to go on Creative Industry Talk live here. We're going to plan it up and see how it works. But over to your final.
Okay. Using Herbert as
yes. Yes.
One of the things that if you're coming online, you already have a product.
This is a Creative Industry Talk anyway.
Anyway, so
the Creative Industry Talk, yes.
You have already your creative idea that you want to bring online.
Yeah.
The question is, you need to find out where your best audience would be. Who is your best audience and why are they your best audience? What is the best platform they are on? And what is required for you to build those platforms? The reason why I say TikTok earlier is because it is intense, it's at the moment, it's growing. You need to get into something that is riding already, than something that has been around all, that people need to search you in. You need to be someone who attracts, not someone who markets. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So TikTok is an attractive place because the algorithm there is giving everyone information as you ask for it. Like if I go in and I say Uganda, I'll get everything that Ugandans are giving without them advertising for themselves. Locationally, TikTok can kind of taps into your location and then gives you according to what you are. Let me say if you put Uganda and then put, I'll give an example on my side. My TikTok name is in Korean. I type everything there in Korean. So I get a lot of Korean content. Once in a while, they drop in a Ugandan content because then my VPN maybe came back home and gave me the line. But then again, before the VPN side, they were giving me Korean content because of the names and the things I was writing at. So you see, keywording and language also positions you in location. So that is why TikTok would be very good for your adventures and videos. And one of the other things I've noticed is if you hit 1 million people on TikTok, you start getting royalties, and they pay you very good money, better than YouTube.
The others, they don't.
The other ones give you money, but it takes long because they have they have been around for years. They have very many things.
But we are going for, I was on TikTok and then I jumped off because I thought I was old and young people there. So we're going back.
So I don't have to cut off this.
No.
Yeah.
There are older guys. He's 78 years old, and he's in fashion for older people.
Okay.
He just comes in, gives the dressing, the walk, and how people should.
Mothers Union.
No.
Yes.
He's a man.
Yeah.
Puts on nice suits.
Okay, Fathers Union.
How old men should look and how and it is working.
And that's his thing.
And
Yes,
that's
his
his
thing.
niche.
That's
That's
his
niche,
niche.
yes.
And he's making good money. There's another older woman who just comes in and teaches us how to do baskets. Like baskets, really make your own basket at home. And it's making good money.
Yeah.
But the reason why TikTok is because it's a new thing.
Yeah.
It's growing. So you need to get into something that is new to make sure that you grow with it. When you go to YouTube should be like your storage. I'll call it storage. Just in case I need to give it a longer, because TikTok gives you between 5 to around 6 minutes. Of the
6 minutes.
Yeah. YouTube you can do an hour, so it can be your storage place for audio, and then just send people to, oh man, my YouTube.
So you, after 1 hour, you keep clicking snippets.
Thank you. Same thing with Instagram, but then Instagram has too much, we already calculate it. And
They are still working. Yeah, they're still working on the numbers. They're going to open up. This thing is about going to open. You see, whoever knew that LinkedIn was going to start asking people for premium?
Thank you.
Yeah. It was so professional until some of us walked in there and broke this whole thing of that. I need to be a white collar guy and just talk about my CVs and then this. LinkedIn, I broke the record of LinkedIn. I have 25 top searches for top executive hiring for Killer. I don't need a job from the LinkedIn. So I don't need it, but you can't break that.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. So I get a lot of people requesting me to apply for a job, but I've been out of my job since 2006. I don't think I can ever go back to this job again because I want to think. But anyway, so yes, they're going to break that.
You get into a system that is new. Going back to my young age, 12 years old, we used to just hop from one platform to another one, tag with high five, until we found Facebook to be stable enough to stay on.
You remember i5, guys?
I looked at high five.
That's why we started here.
Do you remember tag?
Maybe high
Tag,
seven. Maybe high seven.
Who's
i5?
No, the era before Facebook was i5. Yes.
So when Facebook came, I was like, I refused all the others.
Where is this one?
Am I going to be left behind? So I opened Facebook, then I was there alone.
Yes.
Hello.
Guys, the creative industry has come to an end today. Albert Opio is is a different man altogether. I've always said to people that I will be the first person in the African continent to put Opio as a TV personality going across Africa, and I think it's going to happen. I think he's finally reached that age that we can bring all his all his stuff to that point. Not that we are abusing him for that matter. He's saying no, it's because he's got a certain set of skills that I don't think he knows God gave him. With all these experiences he has, I think he can do a very good job. And I think, thank you very much, Patricia, for making sure that we can bring Albert here so that TikTok starts to work. Until next week, we will bring you Albert Opio and Patricia Cahill back. And of course, hopefully, Stella Tal will be joining us. And, one called Faizo Chiwewa. Guys, time is up for the show. We are done. We're saying bye-bye, everybody. Until next week. Welcome to the CEO Bench this week edition. My name is Eddie Okela, and of course, it's a Tuesday, very lovely morning, afternoon, evening, depending on which part of the world you are located. But this is the CEO Bench. The CEO Bench exists for us to bring you people who are climbing into that ladder to become the CEOs or those who are already in the CEO seat. And we want to talk to them and pick an insight from them. What is it like to be a CEO? What is it like to be on that CEO bench or on that CEO seat? What are they going through? These are people who have lived their life on that road, done something about it, and they have a thing or two to share with us. A lot of knowledge, a lot of insights, a lot of information for us to pick from there. And the CEO bench focused more onto what we called leadership, change management, and transformation all across the world and across the spectrum of leadership, across the spectrum of changing position from one end to the next. And my guest in the studio this week needs no introduction. Is the man who has been an A teacher before, 20 years of his life as an A teacher, and of course leaving Migadde Senior Secondary School to Asifiwe International. That's a huge change. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one and only David Rogers Chinto of Asifiwe International School. Is the principal and the founder of the school. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We are still bongering, as you can see. And how have you been?
I've been well, thank you.
Yes. How is it like to be where you are at the moment? What is the feeling like?
Well, it has been a journey, so I guess it's not something you just fall into. So there is not such a feeling.
Yeah.
But I just thank God for how far we've come.
Okay.
Yes.
And David, welcome to the CEO Bench. We want to take you to a journey of leadership, transformation, and a journey of change management. But to start with, I want to just pick your mind, first of all. What is leadership to you?
Leadership, to me, leadership is providing a direction, being at the forefront of something or a cause, and it's not also being alone there, but having a following. That defines the leader eventually.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to now go a little bit more personal. Now that you have defined leadership, there's something called self-leadership. But before we discuss self-leadership, I want to take you straight to knowing you more. It's more of a personal question. Who is David Rogers Chinto? Where do you come from? Who are you? What are you? What are the values that define you as a person?
David Rogers Chinto is, I usually define myself, start with as a teacher. I'm a teacher, I'm a father of 4, I'm a husband of 1. Yeah, so I'm passionate about transforming. I'm glad that one of the things you want to talk about is transformation. I'm passionate about transformation, and I've been doing that all this time. I've gone through all the levels of education in the Ugandan curriculum, and graduated as a teacher. Yes.
Okay. From a childhood perspective, ancestry, who are you? Where do you come from? Who are your parents? We want to get into deeper knowing you from that level as well.
Okay. I come from Jinja. That's my ancestral place, my ancestral home. My mom is around, and my dad passed on about 15 years ago. I have siblings, 2 boys and 1 girl.
All right. And growing up as a child, you were a teacher by profession, and you speak very passionately about teaching. Growing up, were you always going to end up as a teacher, or what was life like when you were young?
Growing up, I always found myself in positions of leadership. Even when you are not intentionally being there to be a leader, you are usually pushed to lead. It can be a small group, it can be I so much did sports, so I always found myself in leadership of sports. but never did I figure out that I would be a teacher. So the teacher comes in later. Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of career guidance.
Yeah.
So never did I choose to say that I'm going to be a teacher. But somehow, as you choose your courses to go to the university, you choose engineering and something else, those fancy courses initially, and then you put education somewhere. You know, the form has to be filled. Yeah. So teaching had not been at the forefront of my thoughts. And when I failed to get my first choice, the second choice, I got my third choice on government sponsorship, and that was education. And as I started the education course, you know, when you go to university, there's this belief that you start the course, you will change. Change of course.
We've all been through that path. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have this thought that I will change along the way, because I did the physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Yes. So. But then, as it went on, I appreciated the education aspect. We did psychology, we did, unfortunately, we did a lot of physics and math, a little of education. So as we went on, I appreciated the course and started getting myself grounded in the course and the ethics that come with it. So I graduate as a teacher, and there I am as a teacher. I accept that.
But initially you wanted to be an engineer.
Initially I wanted to be an engineer, and that's what I put as my first choice. Yeah. And I didn't get it because by then getting some of these courses on government sponsorship was quite hard.
Yeah.
So I got my third choice, and good enough on government sponsorship because I was struggling in school to stay in school. Actually, I dropped out of school at some time. So when I got a government-sponsored course, it was, for me, a breakthrough. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are listening to David Rogers Chintu, the founder and the CEO of Sifiwe, in fact, principal of Sifiwe International Academy, who is right here on the CEO bench, and we are talking transformation, leadership, and change management. David, what a very fascinating story right there. Let's dive into leadership now. Self-leadership. What is self-leadership to you?
Self-leadership, in my opinion, is managing yourself. I know there is a definition between management and leadership, but yes. Let me use the word management. Managing yourself, the things you do, the way you manage, the way you move yourself, the day-to-day affairs of yourself. Yeah. That is self-management or self-leadership.
Okay.
My thought.
And have you been leading yourself?
Of course. Personally, I think before you lead anyone else, you have to lead yourself.
Yeah.
You can't shortcut that.
Okay. Yeah. And the process of leading self requires that you are very patient with yourself, you are very in touch with yourself, and you give self meaning. And every day you wake up in the morning, you have to be very purposeful of yourself and the things that you want to do. Let's talk about leading yourself from a point of Rogers Chintu, the son of your father, of your mother, to the person that you are today in life. What has the journey been like?
Well, leading myself, as I guess the first thing is self-discipline. I've tried to be good myself to start with, and that I think bounces off to be good to other people. But leading self in itself is my core values. I have core values. I have certain beliefs I work with, principles. So it has helped me a lot in, first of all, becoming the person I am and the leader I am eventually. But to start with, it helped me achieve certain things, because without discipline, you cannot achieve a number of things. Yeah, for example, if you're to be, I see my journey in leadership as having started from a humble beginning, start with being a teacher. then you become a deputy head teacher, then you become a head teacher, and now a principal. All that, it's not that you put yourself in those places. People pick you. So they have to look at certain values you possess, and then they say, I think this person can lead in this area. And so they give you that responsibility.
So you would like to say that the law of process, as John Maxwell keeps saying, has been part of your journey?
Yes.
Going from, it says leadership grows daily, not in a day.
True.
And a person's level of effectiveness determines their leadership abilities. Let's talk about your leadership abilities. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you score yourself, and why would you give yourself that mark?
1 to 10, I would say 7.
Why 7? Defend the 7.
7, I think I've really, to start with, I'm still a student of leadership. Maybe after going through all the lessons, I'll be maybe 10. Because there are people I look at who inspire me by the way they lead. And I say 7 because all the responsibilities I've been given as a leader, I've performed. I look back to responsibilities as low as in high school, given a responsibility. I want to recall a time, I think that was a turning point, when I was appointed captain of a football team. Now, it's very hard to be a captain of a football team in S3, as you know. You've been to school and they are big boys.
Yes.
In S6.
Yes.
So being a captain in S3 was a turning point. I kept on asking myself, why me? But as we went along, even now people talk about it that, oh, you were very good, and I think the personality also mattered. So from there on, I became a leader in school, at university, and when I reached university, I was also shocked that I became a leader in year 1, that is first year. Never had there been whole representatives at that level, at year 1, at first year. It was in our regime that I became one, and eventually, of course, became a minister, as you call them, in the hall. So my leadership, there are some times when I've shied away from leadership, and I'm usually thrown back in. So you say, today, rather this time I'm not going to stand for anything. And people somehow push you there, and you find yourself to be a leader. I started being a leader in my primary. I was a deputy head prefect in my primary. And then when I came to secondary, like I told you, I became a sports captain through and through. I've done a lot of sports, even now I do. And then eventually at the university, when I also was chosen to be a leader.
Wow. Well, it's quite clear that your journey is a journey full of experiences, and we can see that your leadership journey has not started yesterday. It has been there, and I think on your scale of 1 to 10, you chose 7, and I think 7 befits you. David, let's talk about the leadership of David Chintu, from being a teacher to a deputy to now an a teacher. 20 years of teaching, if I may say, has been your journey. Let's talk about the teaching leadership and the moment you led Megade Senior Secondary School before we get into Asifiwe. What was the journey like, and what were some of the lessons that you picked from there, and how were you able to navigate the pitfalls, as well as the the change of different roles and responsibilities that were given to you, as well as leading yourself to now being the founder of Asifiwe International, which we're going to get into it, Academy.
Well, my journey into education started when I graduated as a teacher. But before then, I was a science student at Makerere College School, where I did sciences, PCM, and now my math teacher was a lecturer at the university. So when I crossed to university, Makerere College and the university are just they are just separated by a fence.
Yeah.
So I would say I just walked from the college to the university. And there I found my mathematics teacher as my lecturer now in mathematics. So when I finished the course, he came and picked me and said, I want to post you to a school which is just starting. And of course, he was recommending me. I think maybe I was one of his students in the math class doing education.
And mathematics was not easy for many of us. If mathematics was easy for you, you're going to have to send us a message, because I know many of us got 0. Yes. Continue.
True, it was not, neither for us even.
Yeah.
So I was posted to this new school called Migadde College. By then it was called Migadde College. It was a branch of Makerere High School, Migadde. So I was posted here, recommended by my mathematics teacher.
Straight from Makerere College?
Straight from Makerere College.
Yes.
You know, some of us didn't complete university and then we go home and then we walk the streets. Straight from my teaching practice at Makerere College, I was posted to Migadde College.
Wow.
As a teacher. I walk in here and this school is just starting with I think about 60 students. Still building, the floors are not made, a humble setting. I can tell you that was a very testing situation for me. But I stood the test and went through. I was a teacher of physics and mathematics. I started teaching physics and mathematics. And then after 3 years, I became the deputy head teacher. By then the head teacher was Mr. Semwe. He trusted me with leadership. Because you know, leadership also has a lot to do with your mentors.
Yes.
Trusting you to throw in, to throw you there.
Yes, which is what we talked about. Leadership ability determines your level of effectiveness. Level of effectiveness determines your leadership abilities.
Yes.
So if you have a lead on your head, it's definitely no one is going to trust you with that responsibility. But every time you push the lead off your head, you're giving the responsibility. Yes.
So that's what happened. I became a deputy head teacher, and then after about 2 years of head teacher, the head pulled out of that institution. And you know, when you're staff of say 40, you have guys who are older than you, guys who seem to be more able than you.
They were teaching before you.
Yeah, they were teaching before, a lot of experience. But then I was so surprised that this head teacher who stepped out recommended me.
Not the other guys?
Not anyone else.
Wow.
Recommended me to be the head teacher. I was, it was a shock, but it was also, I was scared.
How old were you, by the way?
I think I was, I should have been about 28 maybe.
Wow.
So I said, okay, anyway. I remember the story of Joshua.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. When he was
Moses was leading him, and and then God says, prepare to cross. Yes.
He was forced into that leadership.
Yes.
So I accepted the challenge. So in 2007, I became the head teacher. Now, it was not only, you know, you're familiar with your setting, Migadde College. Yes. Now, there was a transition that the Makerere High, which was in town, was also shifting to Migadde College. Wow. So the school was becoming bigger. Yes. And the name was changing to Makerere High School, Migadde. Yes. You know that Makerere High School has a very rich alumni. Yes. So here I was going to lead a school, changing names. And yeah, I took on the challenge, and I tell you that I led the school for 7 years, and it was amazing. God saw me through. The school grew from glory to glory. The population grew. I learned so much, so much. It was a good experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, how did you change from Migadde to, you know, leaving Migadde to Asifiwe International School? That's a story that we want to get into. That's now change management. How did you manage the change from there? You've told us about the change that you've managed from being a deputy head teacher to being a head teacher of Migadde, and then the joining of the two schools, becoming one and leading there. Of course, you have so many students who I know are watching right now and wondering. And one of them sent me a message this morning and says, that gentleman you're going to interview on the CO bench, he doesn't grow old. He was my head teacher. Look at me right now. We're in the gym at 6 o'clock this morning. And I say, I'm going to tell David, but welcome to the CO bench if you're just joining us from anywhere around the world. This is the CO bench where we talk change management, leadership, and transformation. You must have reached a certain degree of leadership at a certain level, then you qualify to be on the bench. Or you must be heading up there to the CO bench, then you will be able to qualify to come here. And of course, David Rogers Chinto is the former teacher of Migade College, later on that became Makerere High School, the Migade, and now he's the founder and the CEO, and rather the principal of Sifio International School. We're going to take a break, and the CO bench will come back. And when we come back, we'll talk to David Rogers Chinto on change management from Migade to Asifie International Academy, where he starts the school with only his son. I don't know how that is, but the dream of one son has now become a dream of more than 200 students in that school doing ACA curriculum. Stay right there. I'll be right back after the break. This is the coffee break.
My name is Dr. Jinpo Olowo. Thank you for watching House of Talent Television. I love to inspire people. I love to talk about my experiences and how God has been able to use me in the different exposures. And through the leadership, through change management and transformation, I've been able to do a couple of things in my life. Now, are you a kind of person who is tired of your status quo? Do you want your situation to change? Are you tired of what is going on in your life? You know, change is a fact of life. We've all been through experiences in the last couple of months that have taken us to a place where we need to do something about our lives. We need to change whatever is going on. So if you have not piled up investment for yourself, you need to do that. If you've not done businesses to hold your family in future, you need to do that. Are you thinking of full-time employment? You need to be thinking about your life after employment or your business in the next couple of years. So if you want us to chat, if you want us to talk about this, please get in touch with us at SIL Uganda on number 0772443085, or check our website www.siluganda.com, or on all the social media handles. You can hook me up or Facebook, that is Jinpo Olowo, on Instagram, Jinpo Olowo, and on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then we can chat a way forward with you. We can help you, we can coach you, we can walk with you this journey of financial freedom. Thank you.
Welcome back to the CEO Bench. My name is Eddie Okela, and in the studio is David Rogers Chinto, who is the founder and the CEO or the principal of Asifiwe International Academy, a school that started with a dream, looking for a school for his son at home, and it turned out to be something of a development. Is now looking after very many children, over 200 plus kids, providing jobs for people. That is my kind of change management and transformation. David Rogers, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
We are supposed to keep bungering because of coronavirus, and
it's understandable.
Yes, I'd like to read you a comment from some people here, and also encourage some of you guys out there to actually send us your comments. Kisses and disses are welcome, and we want to hear more from you. If you have a question for David, please send it through. If you are a former student of Migade College, please, or Migade College or Makere College, Migade, please send us your kisses and disses. And your former headmaster is actually here talking to us and sharing the story of change management and transformation all across. Now, I want to read the first comment coming in from Patrick Kavuma. This seems to be a staff. He says, good staff, Principal David Kavuma here. And I see my auntie Esther Yachesa there, really tune into. You have some serious guys and looking forward to. It says, great leadership strands. His servant leader, we have seen him lift chairs, cleaned, and just been normal and subordinate, yet he's the head of the school and he's the founder. So that's coming from there. That's a good comment from there. I've got a comment here coming from the USNs. Wow, Eddie Okela, thank you very much for the CEO Bench, bringing us some people who we really love. That gentleman was my aid teacher at Migade and is always humble. I am really great to have gone through his hand to be the person that I am today. I live and work in Denmark. My name is Moses. Wow. Moses. Yes, so I'm not sure if you know all your kids. I have another one here. It says, Eddie Okela, thank you very much for the CEO Bench. My name is James. I live and work in Tanzania. David Rogers Chinto was my aid teacher. You know, wow. So you got a lot of students coming up there and talking to us. So please send us your kisses and disses, and if you have any comments or anything you want us to share or a question you have for David, please share it. The story of David and Asifiwe International School is something that we need to learn from. And of course, the man on the CEO Bench headed to the top. And we are privileged to note that David is about to be sworn in as the president of the Rotary Club of Kampala Sesa Highlands. Yeah. What a transformative move right there, and of course change management. David, let's get back into the show. We were talking about the change management. Let's talk about the story of change management from Migade to Asifiwe International School.
Well, like I shared that I'd led Migade for about 7 years.
Yes.
So in the 7th year, it so happens that the school changed ownership. And the new owners felt they needed another team of their own to lead the school. So I was asked to step out. I did step out. You know the things when you ask, you know, you don't insist.
You're told that, well, thank you very much for your service. We would like to now, it's been nice working with you.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's all God's plans, you know. And I stepped out, but I promised myself that I'm not going to again do this, what I was doing, because I'd been in that school and transformed it from scratch, from startup.
Yeah, from 60 students
to about 800.
Yeah.
So I thank God for that opportunity, and I thank the owner, Mr. Chisubika, for allowing me to grow. So I stepped out, but never thought of starting a school. My story is that when I stepped into the school, I had discomfort with the way the education system was. I kept on saying, is this all? Is this all that children can get out of school? You mean I was teaching physics and math? Is this all that we can get out of school? So I started creating certain programs in the school. to teach children or students things that are not in the main curriculum.
Yeah.
Because firstly, I thought that it's not all about math, physics, and
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, coming from you, who has been teaching this, it's really an interesting story to hear. I want to hear more of that, because usually people are just stuck to that road and they don't want to change. Yes.
Yeah. So when I started my teaching, I saw we can do. I started thinking through what else can we teach, and when I became head teacher, I now kind of was comfortable with introducing